clouds turning into gold. And there's rising up into night. Up on my back, I feel the static.
Good, I hope again.
Tripping the wire, surrounded in time. I see this as mystical, I'm sure that you know. See this as mystical, I'm sure that you know. Just say, you be my firefly. Take everything or nothing at all. Just say, you be my firefly. Take everything or nothing at all. Just say yes. Just say yes. Just say, I'd rather have everything than nothing at all. Just say yes.
Where are my boys? Where are the boys? Let me hear it for the boys. Yeah. Oh. There we go. Hi everybody, happy Sunday. Calling the boys. See where the boys are. Let me hear it for the boys. Andrew? Where? Come on. Should two. Okay. There he is.
There he is.
Yo! 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 Happy Sunday.
How y'all doing?
Good.
We are live, by the way. Got that hand off.
Yay! Everybody.
Oh, Andrew, have you seen on the Diamond Club Reddit, especially in the past couple of weeks, people have been posting news stories and things for weird things there. So if you get a chance, check those out if you haven't already.
God, I gotta go to Reddit. Another time sink. Oh.
You don't have to log in or anything. They're just sending you links. We're really pushing the Modern Rogue Reddit a little bit now. And so I've had to spend significantly more time going to Reddit. Just to, like, you know, make sure, you know, answer questions, and you know how I do.
Yeah.
Let me go see where Brian is.
Oh boy.
So how's everybody? Take two. How's everybody's weekend?
Good, man.
Yeah.
Did the first playtest for Action News, the new card game.
That's right. How was that? Did it go well?
Good.
Good.
You know, it almost went too well. I was almost hoping for it to be for people to not like it or be more confused. But it was really well. I mean, it gave us a better sense of kind of where we are in the process. So, yeah, I think we're at a point now where we could probably start polishing everything up to start sharing it as a print and play.
Okay.
And you know, we'll go from there. But I think it's in a good place.
Mm-mm. Have you guys decided on or thought about how you're gonna launch it? Like in terms of
Hope is to do it at like the Contender.
do another Kickstarter?
Kickstarted. Oh yeah, definitely Kickstarted. It just it doesn't make sense. I mean, that's just where people buy card games now. It's been like a strategy about funding. It's just about where do you sell candy at the candy store?
Hello, gentlemen.
Not the Funk Shop?
Not the Funk Shop. No. Hey, it's direct from Crystal River.
Hey,
how was the man among manatees?
I thought maybe we could talk about that to some degree on the show. I don't know which aspect it would belong in, or how much we would have to talk around to do it, because you and I haven't talked too much about that experience, have we? Or did we mine that field?
I think we went through it on Night Attack in our talking but not talking.
Yeah. It was in so very many ways delightful. The the spring was closed when we showed up.
Really?
Yeah, they you know, they've got different reasons for doing it. One of which is like got a bunch of yahoos.
Yahoo!
You know, either too many manatees or too many humanities. But at any rate, it was closed, and then it opened midway through our thing. So we got this amazing experience. Yeah. We've got video of how different, and I want to show you how different it looks in that grotto, dude. It's unreal. Like, there's a reason that there was palpable disappointment from Captain Ed. Oh, shit. Also, Captain Ed told me.
Yep.
This summer is scallop season, and that they like, I asked about, like, is this a year-round kind of place, or is it just this period? And he's like, no, it really changes during the summer. All of this is crazy wakeboarding, water skiing, going nuts, Bud Light, and Kid Rock, and and he said that there's scallop season where they go out into the Gulf, and you go pick up all the scallops you want, throw them in a bucket. You come back, they shuck them, they cook them for you, and then you eat the scallops that you cooked. And meanwhile, it's like a 4 to 6 hour adventure, you know, in all this shallow water with you going around collecting all your food.
This is gonna end in us getting a timeshare, isn't it? Is that what you're doing? Is it? Do you have a pamphlet?
I mean, dude, I definitely looked at Zillow again and was really confused at the numbers that I was seeing. I mean, it's a fairly delightful little community.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I'll tell you what. I would love to go back there, though. I was actually trying to already start laying the groundwork for my brother who lives in Orlando. That, like, I'm like, hey, look, you know, when Jackson they got a new baby. It's like when Jackson gets a little older. You know, I think that's going to be that's a great little, you know, drive an hour vacation.
Yeah. Well, and Ed was super, super cool, and he gave me his card and was already like sketching out like next reason for us to come back and other stuff, and I was like, well, I think Justin would like to come. He's like, oh yeah, no, totally.
It's like good salesman, that Ed.
Yeah.
Okay, recording over here.
Oh, classic Ed.
Typical Ed. You've been classicked. No, that doesn't work. That doesn't track.
Also, I'll not be making as many points today.
Oh yeah.
So it's starting to come together.
Yeah, it's to be honest, I don't know if you could zoom in on this and see anything. Probably not. I think I saved a lot of money by not getting stitches by just doing this for a week. I mean, look at that. Doesn't that look good?
My home was beautiful. but a shadow fell across the
Fuck is that?
What is that?
Yeah.
I totally.
Autoplay videos. You can never walk away from
I'm sitting here thinking that Ashley is walking around quoting poetry in the background at Justin's place.
I thought we had some really
She's out.
bad Skype echo.
Uh,
No, none of that.
But I'll tell you what's weird is, so there was already swelling from the drone strike, but now there's swelling in the knuckle from this.
Yeah.
So there's this weird barbell effect. I don't know if you can see it. Look at that. Brrr. Where it goes out, in, out.
Oh, look at that.
Like for so like that's a normal thing.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
Hand talk with Brian Brushwood.
And then there's this one.
Chat.
All right.
All right, here. You go pee-pee potty. We'll get started.
Okay. Yeah, so it sounds like there's manatee talk at your disposal, gentlemen. Yeah.
Clue me into what will make this manatee talk special.
I think only Brian can know that.
He just got home like a couple hours ago. I think he's just
by
excited.
these manatees and wants to share the experience.
Right. Growing up 20 feet away from manatees, I'm still trying to figure out what the.
Yeah. Hey, Andrew, can we get that nice mic of yours?
Oh yeah. Gosh. Are you happy now?
A lot, actually. Thank you. Oh, that's right. I need to update this thing here.
I got something good. I got everything that you need. And does she do it better than I could? Is it good enough to keep?
All right, Bri.
Yo, buddy.
No, hold on. I got something at the door.
Oh.
I'm up too.
It's Mr. Manatee.
Yes, you can forget her. Tell me, does it feel? Let me take you to another.
Okay, on the manatee thing.
Yeah.
What's the manatee thing?
Oh shit. So there's a spot named Crystal River where there's 42 individual springs, and all of them output 72 degrees year round, which normally is not interesting to manatees, except for during the winter when it's really, really cold in the Gulf, when it's below that number.
Right.
And so over the years, mothers teach their pups to come in and to hang out there for the months of, basically December, January,
Yeah, I
February.
grew up. I lived in my neighborhood. We had one of those like outflows.
Oh, well, yesterday I was swimming with them, and this morning we left there, and now we're here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. It was great.
Okay.
It was way cool.
All right. We had a very manatee-heavy neighborhood in Florida.
Manatee o'clock high. Wait.
My friend once fell on top of one. That was hilarious.
My brother and Manatee. All right. Their show's about to come out.
He was leaning out of the boat to pet it. He fell on top of it. Oh, God. Do you think the manatee was scared?
All right. Well, anything left that needs to be done, or can we get weird?
One more second here.
Okay. I mentioned where did I mention this? I've fallen into an MMO hole.
Oh no, you did it!
Yeah,
You done did
I
it!
did it. I bought Final Fantasy 14. It's pretty
Wow.
good. It's pretty good though. I don't know. I like it. I get to be a cat boy. And I have a pet.
Oh, is that what I was chiming in on? I couldn't tell what character you were building and what, but I
Yeah.
just felt like some gentle, snark would be appreciated.
Yeah. No, that was because that's right, because I was making a character last week. I'm like 23 or something now. I don't know. You level up pretty fast in that game, but you can also play every class on any character.
Yeah.
So like you can kind of go back and like start over on different, classes. I don't know. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Also, no Hotline Monday today, so we can go as long as we want.
Nice.
Is Hotline Monday? Okay, Hotline Monday. How much of the title of Hotline Monday is like a Hotline Miami thing?
Not a lot, because I wasn't really familiar with Hotline Miami. I just really like the name Hotline, like just because I haven't really seen it in podcasting a lot.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't know. All my new titles are all phone related. Like
That's
they're
right.
all like phone nostalgia related. That like Hotline Monday and 1-900 wrestling. I guess I don't know. I just have something about corded phones. I just find very interesting.
Sure.
Nostalgia.
Rename the new game 555 Action News.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's all public now, right?
Yeah, he was talking about the playtest.
Action News. Yeah.
Good.
Coming to a town near you. Hopefully, print and plays soon.
Nice.
Awesome.
The jury hotline.
Hard juries, soft juries, white juries. We got all the juries.
Yeah. Mm.
I'm like, oh man, here's an adorable photo of a monkey riding the back of a deer, and then I realized the monkey's not just riding the deer.
Oh, jeez.
Like, no, not for weird things. It's not that show.
Baby monkey.
Ha!
Oh god. To live and die in Manatee, Vegas. We're getting a lot of Manatee puns. Play it again, Manatee.
I mean, there's so much. It's a rich, untapped vein of pure 73-degree water when it comes to manatee puns.
Andrew Manatee.
Andrew Manatee.
I feel like, Brian, I feel like an Australian, and you're like obsessed with the kangaroo, and I'm like, yeah, no, they're everywhere. They're everywhere, dude. What's the big deal, And you're like, no, it's like this big mammal thing. Don't you understand? I don't know. It's just...
I will say that having been grown up around manatees and boating in Florida, it was kind of special just in how many of them they were, and also the migrating manatees are a lot less scarred by boats and stuff like that than the ones that live indigenously throughout the canals and waterways of.
What the hell?
Who's calling?
Facebook is calling this phone. Someone on Facebook called this phone.
Oh, wow.
All right, cool. I'm gonna have to learn how to uninstall that.
Wow. So it really was. It was just a random
It was a Facebook.
IP address dial. Wow.
It probably was someone you're Facebook friends with.
Am I logged into Facebook? I guess I'm always logged into Facebook. I don't like it. I'm again it.
Yeah. Uninstall. Skype previews being uninstalled.
Yeah.
Because that's not cool. That shouldn't have happened. You shouldn't have just gotten a whole thing. Okay. The podcast earlier, a lot of games are winding up on Tabletop Simulator. Have you thought about bringing your card games over there, Justin?
Probably now the Contender, sure.
Yeah.
But
I bought a game at PAX, and they're like, you bought it here, and so we're giving people coupons for the DLC version of our game for Tabletop Simulator. So you go in, and if you have that game on the computer, you plug it in, and you can play the game virtually. But it seems like a lot.
I ain't gonna lie to you, folks. I haven't done a whole lot of research into it, but if people want it, then that's something that we can invest in. And I think now that whatever we raise on Action News, we'll probably be a lot smarter about our print run.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to be a little bit less in a position where we are like, move the decks. Never. Don't play the game unless you can buy this deck right now. Which, by the way, you can buy the deck for $17.76 and get the 2016 primary expansion with free shipping. Use offer code Washington only for President's Day.
Yeah. Make a manatee great again?
Like, I mean, to compare the two, like, this one is...
Ben Manatee Her? That one kind of doesn't play Gambling Man.
Yo, in Diablo, I use mana.
W Scott is one. It's kind of like the contender, but for TV news. The mechanics are a lot different, but the reading and creating a full sentence is similar. But yeah, it will revolve around our fascination with silly stories as performed by television news anchors.
Are you doing is it going to be the family-friendly base deck again?
Yeah, turns out you can sell to families and schools.
And it turns out when you say the words card game, people are not fans of the next words being for adults. Like, it turns out that that's
sometimes they are. But considering we were able to make a card game that wound up in schools all around the country that has like a reference to 9/11 in it, like I think we can very easily do something that is along those lines. But yeah, no curse words in the base deck.
Because I just want Effer right in the P to be in that NSFW pack.
To be fair, there's a lot of questions that we're having right now, and one of the biggest unsolved questions for us in playtesting is how we work in quotes.
Oh, really?
Quotes are kind of challenging, but
Like
we can talk
sound
about
bites.
that time. That's not the Weird Things podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. We good, Andrew?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
we're the best.
He says walking away.
No. Just grabbing this Diet Coke.
All right.
All set, guys.
I knew I would be back. There was no way you were gonna get me. That was like a challenge. That was a called shot.
Give me one other second to check a thing because I'm just not noticing it. But alright, so this one. Yeah, that might be why. Okay, great. Okay, great. Alrighty, I'm gonna hit this button, go over here. Turn that off. Alright, you guys, let's do the Weird Things show in 3, 2.
Welcome to the Weird Things podcast. I'm Andrew Main, joined by Justin Robert Young.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
And Brian Manatee Ryder Brushwood.
I wouldn't ride a manatee. That'd be a violation. Subject to a $500 fine or more.
Oh, $500 to ride?
Or more. Much more.
Well, gentlemen, before we get into that, and who may or may not have ridden an, a threatened species, I forget what their status is.
Endangered, possibly moving to threatened.
Wait, does it go threatened and endangered? Which way does it go?
Threatened is the more populous. And it's kind of funny because just gossiping with folks, it's like why are there not more rules about encountering these beasts? And they're all like, well, I mean, people live here, and they're like, what are you going to tell me I can't swim in my own backyard? I don't, it's not my fault there are manatees there. And then and then it's like, well, I guess the answer is there should be so many manatees that nobody cares if you ride them.
Exactly.
They should be like sea cows should be like cows now, basically.
Yeah, I think we found that actually can help, like in repopulating tigers. Tiger farms help.
Yeah, well,
manatee, the other white meat.
I may have loudly proclaimed there should be so many we should eat them, right? Not the most popular joke there.
Even if it makes sense. Before we get to that, I want to talk about another threatened species, an endangered species, and that is humanity.
Oh no! That's the other manatee.
The other white meat.
Yeah, so some scientists doing their science thing were playing around with some Judean jar handles. They had these jar handles from Judea, and they're like, hey guys, these things can record magnetic fields. Wouldn't it be fun for just giggles if we found out if like magnetic fields had fluctuated throughout history, which we know happens on some level. We know that this takes place. So they decided to go use their science to go look at these jar handles from the 8th to the 2nd century and examine them. And what they noticed, which was very interesting, was they saw what looked like magnetic spikes, periods in which the Earth's magnetic field increased its intensity dramatically, so much so that if it happened today, it could do things like fry our electrical grid and kind of make life really suck.
All right, hold on. I'm going back to my high school science here. And if I remember correctly, like the evidence for magnetic poles shifting was in various rock strata. Because we have a North Pole and a South Pole, and every so often things get a little soft, and then they just loop, and then they flip sides. And that I remember there being pottery samples, because mixed in with all that stuff was ferrous material that would align itself north-south as it was mixed and moved to a line, and then it got fired and got locked in, and they would say, okay, this is when the South Pole went south and when the North Pole went south and everything up and down. But if I'm hearing you correctly, the new news is that they're able to gauge the intensity of essentially magnetic flares during that time, not just the pole shifting?
So, let's back up. One, I don't think that we've had an example of a pole flipping in human history. I'm not sure, but I don't think we've had that happen.
Okay,
but we
then,
do
then
know
that must be various geological samples I was thinking.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Clay.
What this is, it's not solar, but it's the Earth's magnetic field. Or pardon me as I hit my microphone, so excited here. The Earth's own magnetic field inside, because we've got this strange, and we still don't quite know how it happens. We know there's like molten iron in the core, rotating these convection currents. So we think that there might be some sort of event that can take place where they will spike just from the Earth internally. Things will happen.
Okay, so you're saying, okay, so what I need to do is this is a similar type of evidence to the idea of magnetic poles flipping, but it has nothing to do with the poles flipping. Instead, you're saying, just as we already know that a solar flare can fry a bunch of electronics if they're not properly shielded, or as the book 1 Minute After postulated, a EMP blast could knock out all of our electronics. We have a new source to be afraid of energy that can blast out our electronics.
That is correct, sir. Now, ready for it to get even weirder, because I was fascinated by the subject and I came across something that I had, you hear about, or something you then you sort of go, okay, whatever. Do you know about the South Atlantic anomaly?
Yes, it's the #1 cruise ship attraction from 2012 to 2014.
If you want any more proof that the Earth's magnetic field is a little bit wonky and weird, is that the Earth's magnetic field isn't this perfectly spherical or donut-shaped thing. There is a place in the South Atlantic where it is a varying intensity, which means that the Van Allen, or we talk about the Van Allen radiation belt, comes much closer to Earth than just about anywhere else, except for maybe like the poles, where it dips down to 120 miles, which means that when you're in the International Space Station or other places flying overhead, you tend to avoid this region because it's much more intense radiation. It's an actual spot on the Earth that, because of the shape of our magnetic field, it just dips down almost like kind of like a third pole to a degree.
So, okay.
What?
And
it's like some lost stuff. This is like
totally.
Some Dharma Foundation stuff.
So how bad is it? I mean, it's bad enough that, like, and forgive me here, I'm gonna speak in unkind terms, and I'm gonna sound like I'm being reductionist, and I'm not trying to, but sure, some NASA bureaucrat doesn't want to be on the on the horns for being the guy that flew the International Space Station into the deepest radiation of the planet. But at the same time, like, I mean, we're talking about sending people to Mars and having them be heavily irradiated by cosmic rays and just sort of shrugging, saying, I don't know, 10, 15 years off their life, they're down with it. Like how bad is this area?
Well, let me read from the Wikipedia the section marked effects. The South Atlantic anomaly is of great significance to astronomical satellites and other spacecraft that orbit the Earth at several hundred kilometers altitude. These orbits take satellites through the anomaly periodically, expose them to several minutes of strong radiation caused by the trapped protons in the inner Van Allen belt. The International Space Station, orbiting with an inclination of 51.6 degrees, requires extra shielding to deal with this problem. The Hubble Space Telescope does not take observations while passing through the SAA, the South Atlantic Anomaly. Astronauts are also affected by the region, which is said to be the cause of peculiar shooting stars, phosphenes, seen in the visual field of astronauts, an effect termed the cosmic ray visual phenomena, which is going to be our band, by the way.
I've heard about this. This is if I remember correctly, there was some documentary where there was a astronaut who was on the mirror and he was reporting the phenomenon. If he looked, let's call it due north, everything was fine. But once he turned 90 degrees and is now facing, west, all of a sudden, even if he closed his eyes, he saw bright flashing lights, and it was cosmic rays striking his rods and cones, firing off.
So that happens more there. And so they go on to say that as far as effects, they say passing through the South Atlantic anomaly is thought to be the reason for the early failures of the Global Star Network satellites. The Pamela experiment, while passing through the SAA, detected antiproton levels that were orders of magnitude higher than expected. This suggests the Van Allen belt confines antiparticles produced by the interaction of the Earth's atmosphere with cosmic rays. And NASA reported that modern laptops have crashed when space shuttle flights pass through the anomaly. In October 2012, the SpaceX CRS, which is the Dragon spacecraft attached to the International Space Station, experienced a transient problem as it passed through the anomaly. So, here's more. They believe that a series of events led to the destruction of Hitomi, Japan's most powerful X-ray observatory. The anomaly transiently disabled a direction-finding mechanism, causing the satellite to rely on gyroscopes that were not working properly, after which it spun itself apart.
Holy crap.
Oh boy. So we have actual... yeah, by the way, that bureaucrat, I don't blame him. Don't fly the ISS there.
Well, that's why, I think that's why you shield for that. And it's just when you look at the map as we saw there, and you saw there's this zone, and it's just, this brings us, you talk about like, okay, below, you've got the radiation belts will protect us, then you want to sort of avoid those, or if you go through those, you want to go through them pretty quickly. But here we have a spot on Earth where this thing dips down to just, 120 miles, which is just really well within low Earth orbit. And, when we start talking about like, well, what are the effects of, this Judea like magnetic spike? We can see that here.
Okay, so how much of this? I mean,
that's a big boy too. That one, it swallows up all of South America.
Yeah.
So
sorry, Brazil.
Well, but keep in mind also, like, this is a big boy as defined by. In any system, you're going to have a best area and a worst area. So our worst area covers what looks like, 20% of the Earth's surface, 15%, maybe.
It's a lot of the Atlantic Ocean, the South Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah,
but also
nobody goes there anyway.
Well,
it's fine.
Well.
It's fine. No, but okay. So here's my question: is right now that's a problem, and we dodge it because we don't know how to deal with it. But how, is it on the table to create shielding that would make this a perfectly safe area? Is this the kind of thing where once we build a magnetic, ion shield or some crap that will protect us, or hardened plates that bounce off all the radiation?
I think so. I think that at some point, as we work on, there's, right now the only way we really try to shield ourselves is just, throwing more mass there. But we are working on, electrical generations or systems that, create our own magnetic fields to block the particles. So if that happens, then as far as spacecraft's concerned, then yes, that would help. But as far as, the bigger problem, though, is like we have this big bubbling cauldron of magnetic goo underneath us that at any moment we don't know, poles could flip and we could have intensities. And that's kind of the bigger thing, is showing like, hey, here's this weird thing going on the surface here that we know that's happening, that wasn't always happening, but it's been happening in as far as we, our recent history. And there are other things could happen. Things could spike.
Can we talk, and I kind of want Justin's perspective on this. the idea of an EMP strike technically should feel more terrifying now than ever, as our reliance on just-in-time management of water, food and supplies, it relies more on technology than ever. I was able to this morning wake up in Crystal River and drive to the airport, not having any idea where I was, but knowing that my magical iPhone was telling me to go the right way and barely paying attention to the road signs, to hop on a plane that was computer controlled, to fly to here. Do you worry? It seems like the next great either terrorist threat or environmental disaster, it seems like the next great disaster would be us losing contact with each other and all of the terrifying things that could happen as a result. Do you even worry about that? About running out of, there's a blackout, no big deal. And then day 7, it's like, we're all dying of starvation.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, I guess it's not as much of a worry until it happens once, right? Like on a large scale, because we don't even know what the capability of rebuilding is. Like, we know what the capability of rebuilding from a hurricane, from an earthquake, from a fire, from famine, from drought, right? Like we have a sense of that. There's a blueprint. We really have, number one, the problem is ever shifting as we become more dependent, as you pointed out, but also like, I don't even know where to begin on how do we get back? How do we rebuild?
Oh, we lost. Sorry, I'm not hearing Andrew.
Sorry, I had to cough. But remember that when we talk about EMP, that's a very localized thing. That one is like a little EMP, a little EMP attack. I say. There's a difference though between like a localized sort of thing and a global thing. If it's a localized thing, if you're in the city that's affected or whatever, that's a big thing. But we have to sort of differentiate between, Cleveland lost its Wi-Fi. Boo-hoo! Unless I'm in Cleveland, and then I'm like, screaming at the top of my lungs.
So let's postulate a situation where it's bad enough that all cell phones are bricked, but slightly older, hardened, more traditional electronics. Like, let's say I have a hard time believing that an old-fashioned landline telephone is going to go out from any reasonable amount of blast from the magnetic center.
Oh no! I mean, it's going to fry telephone wires.
That seems huge.
That might be even more susceptible because those wires. That's whenever we have
it's
solar
a large
flares.
It's a large collection grid.
Yeah, it's just a big antenna saying, "Just fry me."
Ooh,
fry me, dog. Yo, you want beef? Fry me.
What about CB radios?
I think we'd be good on that, good buddy.
Okay, all right. So CB radios, and like I'm already thinking in terms of like, I have enough gasoline to get me to the warehouse to get the pirate radio station. Oh, I'm gonna have to buy a generator, aren't I?
Yeah, but does your car fry?
I don't think so. It's a
Cars have computers in them now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but as we've discussed on Night Attack, my 2012 Jeep is fairly low tech with manual transmission and that stuff.
And satellite radio.
Okay, well, it's a satellite radio doesn't work anymore.
You're gonna roll up on the spot and like manually roll your window down. Like, you can't do this, huh?
Yeah, I'm just rolling my windows up and down, bragging to my neighbors.
Yeah, I mean there are. Anything built in the last several decades could be susceptible. It depends on the severity of the EMP because you have ignition systems and a lot of other stuff that, are vulnerable.
Man. So that I guess we're gonna foreshadow what is now going to be my pick come the end. A lot of this was postulated by or theorized by the author of 1 Minute After, and in that book. It is a deliberate strike from a rogue nation where they have a single nuke, but there's some paper that suggests that if you fire a nuke at the right level, it creates kind of a cascade effect and creates a massive EMP. And so all of a sudden, all communities are cut off. And one thing, there's a lot about the book that's fairly unbelievable and slightly heavy-handed in my opinion, but the part that I thought was very, very good was the progression of, at first, everyone shrugs their shoulders like, blackout, we're having a cookout, all this meat's going to go bad. And so they have a barbecue and it's kind of a party at the beginning. Flash forward to months later, they've gotten word that marauders are coming, and the high school students, the high school's been turned into basically a boot camp for their local militia, and they lose a third of their high school class to marauders, and then finally they're cooking up dogs and stuff. I don't know. It's like that world was a pretty terrifying world, and I'd be scared of that happening.
Wait, how long after it goes out do they result to conscripting the youth into gangs?
They do a reasonable enough job of painting the world where it's months and months, where it's just like, at first it's a party, and then all the cars stopped on the road. They're getting hungry and tired, and there's like this weird moment where people are trying to come on private property. They're like, it's been 12 hours. Let me have some of your water, ma'am. And then, truckers are holding tire irons and getting a little feisty. And then, it does a really good job of painting a progressive, deteriorating picture. And so even though I looked up the paper that he built the story on, and it seems like it's less of a threat than it looks like, but not in the scenario Andrew proposed. It could exactly be 1 second after.
Huh. Be warned. Well, if we're looking for another place to go to, breaking news, NASA to host a major press conference on discovery beyond our solar system. And NASA to host a major press conference on discovery beyond our solar system is what it's called. The event will see the revelation of major information about exoplanets, or planets that orbit stars other than our sun. According to a release, it made no further mention of the details that would be revealed. I guess this is going to be February 22nd. And this is a website that does not provide the date and is not letting me scroll right now because it's trying to load a bunch of video images.
The event will take place on February 22nd, 1 p.m. New York time.
Justin?
Yeah?
Are you waiting with bated breath for this because you totally believe that they're not the little boy who cried wolf, and that when NASA says they have an exciting extrasolar announcement that it's going to be genuinely life-changing?
I'm just saying that if you were taking odds on whether or not within 6 months there will be some kind of correction or retraction to the announcement that we're going to get this Wednesday, you would have to lay a little bit of money. To me, that would be the favorite betting destination for me, is that at some point within 6 months we're gonna get some like, well, maybe it's not exactly a planet, maybe it was a smudge on the thing, on the lens.
I would say their exoplanet divisions and all that have been pretty good. They're different departments within NASA, and I would say that some of the life sciences stuff tends to be where, like, between the 1990s, the Martian meteorite, and then the arsenic thing more recently and all that, they're the ones that seem to be a little more, hey, we did something cool too, or the exoplanet stuff. I don't think it's like they're like, hey, yeah, turned out our telescope had dust on the lens, we're all alone, no other planets.
So this is something that you would say likely to be an exciting piece of information we can build on.
Here's the problem we're in now, is because we'll hear about stuff like, hey, we think there may be some planets out there. And like, okay, and then NASA comes out with a press conference and says, hey, guess what, guys? We think there's some planets out there. Like, yeah, no, we've been hearing about that. We're glad you guys are kind of confirming this, but we kind of already heard this thing. So I don't know if it's going to be anything earth-shaking that we haven't already suspected.
Well, I'm going to assume they're going to drop the F word at least once. And they say this is the first planet that has blank, or the first blank planet, or whatever. But we've heard, or maybe their announcement is, for the first time, we've cataloged over 1,000 potential Earth-like rocky planets going around these right kind of stars or whatever. I mean, it'll be cool, and we'll be excited about it. It'll also feel iterative and like a minor step forward in a direction we've been feeling for a long time.
I concur, but what's within the capability of us knowing that would be cool to know? Because like we're starting to detect atmospheres around other planets, or think we can. Is it, hey, we've found a bunch of Earth zone planets and stuff, or
well, to be honest, what would be exciting is if they said we have found Earth's twin. We can confirm for a fact that it has nitrogen, oxygen, CO2, whatever. Although, am I right in remembering this, that the only way oxygen shows up on a planet is if there's some form of life on it? Is that right?
No.
Okay.
You could have oxygen through other processes, but our oxygen is a product from the
Oh, doggone it! There's some half remembered quote from
biology.
What I want to say is maybe Pale Blue Dot or something. But there was like a very simple heuristic of like this thing only happens when there's life. But they certainly wouldn't issue this kind of sleepy press release if they said, "Here's strong evidence of life."
The Armada is flying towards us now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more of a 5-alarm fire, right? You know.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be a roundup. It's gonna be some landmark number of Earth-like or Earth zone habitable, like, you know. Basically, it's gonna be a press release that says, "Your money is not wasted on NASA. We've done this many."
Also, I'm Payne, the new NASA administrator.
When he takes questions, it gets really awkward. He's surprised by everyone. He's like, "You, Pamela." Oh!
I'm not good at improv.
There's been a big, there's a push coming from the Republicans, which is to push NASA into deep space and to say, let's have other, government organizations do the Earth sciences stuff, which,
I think that'd be really interesting. I mean, especially if it's cheaper to do and it can yield results and kind of get people get some new stuff out there, right?
Well,
There's some new ideas, some new excitement.
That's the key. Is once it costs $23.95 to send anything to low Earth orbit, it really doesn't make sense to have a specialized high-end, NASA out there looking at the Earth when they should be looking, outward.
Well, the fear is that it would be a Republican attempt to get rid of all like Earth sciences, though. It's not the idea. The concern is that this, hey, let's push this over to the NOAA or whatever and get NASA back into space. But other people are like, yeah, but is this really just to stop Earth monitoring or climate sensing in total?
I mean,
stifle the Earth. Stop listening to Mother Gaia as she speaks to us through her mysterious ways.
God, this really is one of the things that makes me so sad about having a team, because you could take the exact same statement. Obama says it on his way out. Like, the last thing I'm going to do is make NASA go to deep space. And blue teams be all, yay! Red team be all like, ah! And then 20 minutes later, same statement is like, ah! I don't know.
What was that? Is that I would love for you to be on like CNN. I don't know, Wolf. It just sounds like red team's like, brah, and then blue team's like, meh.
All right. First of all, I'm glad we have enough trust that I don't feel insulted that the host of Politics, who has been one of the lead correspondents on BitTorrent News, just mocked me as a potential CNN guest.
No, I think it would be better. I mean, I don't know if you've watched much CNN lately. I'd rather somebody just like literally call them braying goats. I'll tell you what, you can do much more than goat braying when you go to patreon.com/night attack. That is where you can support this very show. No, weird things. Sorry. Too many Patreons. Patreon.com/weird things rather is where you can support the show.
7 Patreons. Those are people who sit on an altar and put their hands together and hold a bill in between them and hand them to us. Join one of the Patreons at patreon.com/weirdthings. We are 7 Patreons away from hitting Yolio 420.
But thank you guys. You guys have been very, very, very supportive of this show, and we very much appreciate it. Go ahead and check us out. Patreon.com/weirdthings.
Just to clarify, oxygen in significant quantities is indicative of life. There's like, we don't know of any process that produces the ratio that we have. There are other like moons, like Saturn moons and stuff that have oxygen, but it's like just small amounts. So that's what you're talking.
Good. The important thing, like I would hate if I was holding on to the wrong element this whole time, but I'm glad I remember the right element.
Yeah, no, it's good. So yeah, if we detected like, like an exoplanet with an oxygen atmosphere, that would be indicative of, we'd be like, well, the only process we know that would produce the amount that we could detect from here would be life.
Good.
So
okay. Yeah. No. That is exciting. Well, I mean, and again, if that were the announcement, my guess is we'd have a louder press announcement than this.
Or unless they're like, yeah, but then remember how Justin came down on us the last time. We don't want to just go yell about it because Mr. Robert Young.
What happened? When did I yell at anybody? I'm a docile.
The NASA. You were just yelling at NASA earlier.
Well, no, I was being snarky, certainly.
Hold on. We have live on the air. NASA. NASA, are you there?
Hi. Justin, you hurt my feelings. I'm NASA.
Now, how do you feel, Justin?
That was me. You shouldn't have said that.
I'm so sorry, NASA.
Yeah.
What are you doing right now? You sound like you're in pain.
I'm just writing the announcement for tomorrow.
You're writing the announcement?
I'm writing the announcement.
Wait, you announced it before you even wrote it?
You gotta
by the way, what's the announcement?
Well, it's
not telling you now.
Oh, I gotta go. Obama's calling me. Click.
How would you describe what blue team be like, and conversely, what red team be like?
Well, blue team be like Houston, and then red team be like Houston.
Hang up on NASA. I'm sorry.
All right, so long, NASA. Get out of here.
Get out, NASA. I mean, he may be the most important human achievement we've ever done, in most, thing that if we were point to what are we proudest of, maybe NASA would be that. But get out. Get out. We're done with you now.
Hey, I know that we're trying.
I got one more.
One more what?
One more thing. This is just I gotta get there was a consulting firm. I don't know if they were hired, but they're making recommendations on what should be the new Air Force One plane.
What kind of plane?
Yeah, they had a suggestion on there saying, like, if we want to, like, for future presidents, if we wanted to, like, maybe allow them to have the safest, best way to get them from place to place, which could be you not have to worry about enemies attacking them, whatever, missiles, etc. The suggestion was by Wright, Williams, and Kelly Consulting, as they suggested what we should probably be using for Air Force One is the B-21 bomber.
Oh, goodness.
What?
That seems like that would not send out the best, because the stealth bomber, because you wouldn't be able to see it anywhere.
I mean, it's like this is the thing that looks like Batman's airplane.
Yeah, well, and also is an instrument of war. Might send a bit of a controversial message out at this fragile time.
Well, all right. So what would be, aside from it just being aesthetically something that is jarring, like what would be, I mean, because like the point of Air Force One is to get people, is to get important cargo from point A to point B, right?
The concern is vulnerability to surface-to-air missiles. The concern is that as we fly our head of state around, again, Air Force One as it is has a lot of deterrence and stuff like that. It's like if you look at the president's limo, you look at the glass on that stuff and you realize that windshield's that's thick. There's like other procedure. Like it's not it looks on the surface like a normal car. Then you look closer, you're like, oh man, this is not a normal car. Same thing with the Air Force One currently, but the idea of the B-21 is that surface-to-air missiles and these other things become more prevalent and more sophisticated, that flying the president around in this big thing with the logo on it may not be the smartest way to avoid a conflict. So if you moved the president into a B-21 stealth bomber, which is designed to avoid these deterrents, it might be a safer means of transportation. And also protection against electronic attacks, etc.
Have you read Radley Balco's amazing book, Rise of the Warrior Cop?
No, I'm familiar with it, though.
It makes a very compelling case where, it paints a time that the local police served as adjudicators to local disputes. It took care of people who, were in trouble, and you dealt with drunks. And then when there was a dispute, you resolved it, and you took, somebody beats up his wife, you took him to jail, and that kind of stuff. The drug war really perverted. It injected money, and the war on terrorism injected insane amount of monies, and all of these police forces got big budgets, and they have to spend the money or else they don't get it again. And so you get a bunch of folks who are like, well, what would be cool and that we could justify because it would make us safer? And it turns out dressing everyone as cyborgs, as soulless robots that are there to intimidate. Like, literally, that's one of the reasons they say it's like, plus this will have intimidation for those darn drug folks. And of course, they're kicking down doors and shooting flashbangs that are severely melting the faces of toddlers and stuff. It seems to be, I would say, after my reading of it, this is just my opinion, that it's more trouble than it's worth. I think that to put any president, but especially this one, in an instrument of war to parade around might have perverse, intense, horrifying, unintended consequences.
Sure. I guess the concern is it's we can talk about what our present threats are, but what are the future threats? We don't realize that what a threat is until sometimes after it happens. And the concern here is like, you have ISIS using drones now to drop bombs on people, right? They're using this very cheap, readily accessible technology now. They're doing that. Surface-to-air missiles are finding their way from China and Russia and all that to these different regimes, which are not state players that don't care. And so the concern there is that, like, okay, if we have this technology that we think could prevent this major problem from happening, their suggestion is we should consider using this. They're not, and I the Warrior Cop thing, I agree. There's a community policing problem in many places. There is a lack of training. There's a lot of issues at play there. Here's sort of, and I'm not saying I'm for this, but the ideas are saying, listen, if you want, what is the best means to protect them? Well, it's this, And
let me ask you this, Brian. If this was not, I think, because part of the problem now is that this is very obviously the high water famous celebrity version of new war technology from a certain era, right? Sure. If it did not look like that, and maybe you had a smiley face on it and it looked a little bit more stately, would it just be the new version of Air Force One? Like, would it just be like, yeah, times change, planes change? There's more stuff in the air. Now Air Force One looks like a hang glider and not a tube anymore.
No, and my evidence of that is, I would say, the biggest criticism of, and again, I've not been there, and I certainly can't speak. Whatever. The only criticism I've seen of the rebuilding of One World Trade and the 9/11 museum stuff is the fact that it's a hardened bunker, and they do their best to dress it up, architecturally speaking, but it is built to withstand a massive strike, and in many ways that is a scar that gives a message that is not consistent with what many people would feel like an American attitude of live and let live. Give us your tired, your poor, your yearning masses huddled, and all that stuff. And I feel like this would be a similar thing. Like, you could dress it up however you want. That's an effing bomber. That's an instrument of war, the best instrument of war. It reeks of fear and the idea that, well, this is what we need because our president is definitely a hated target worldwide, and it's not something I'm comfortable with.
I mean, but wouldn't that be the same argument for, like, And I'm not saying you're wrong, but isn't that kind of the same argument for like bulletproof glass on the limo?
Agreed. And I don't think we should have bulletproof glass. I mean, if you are doing, here's the thing: if you're doing your job as a cop, you don't need more than a nightstick. If you're doing it properly.
What?
Can I finish? I mean, you could have guns in the. If you are overstepping your bounds, then you probably need something more. If you're doing your job as the president, you probably don't need bulletproof glass. If you're overstepping your bounds, then you probably do. And all of that to say is, because here's the problem, is one dedicated person is all it takes to sacrifice their life to take out a president. And we've seen that time and time again. Is if somebody values killing the president more than themselves, there's virtually nothing you can do to stop it. So why don't you acknowledge that and instead give the impression that you will behave in a way that you want to minimize the number of people willing to sacrifice their life to take yours.
All right, let's back up for a second. Okay, so a cop only needs a nightstick. How many bar fights have you had to break up?
Wait, hold on. No, that's an unfair comparison. I'm not using my experience. I'm using the historical precedent. Used to be the cops walked around with two sticks, a day stick and a nightstick. That's where the long stick comes from because people were rowdier at night.
What was considered police brutality at that point? Okay, what was overstepping their bounds at that point?
This is unfair shotgunning. You're asking me for facts that you know that I can't provide, and they're insignificant to my argument.
Well, I don't. You think they're insignificant? Okay, I'll use family example. Okay, my father was a police officer in one of the worst parts of Atlanta. Okay, when he had some very unfashionable opinions about maybe white people and black people getting along. He was assigned the night districts. He was assigned the drunks. He was assigned the worst part of town at all. Okay, now it was a very different time. Very, very different time. My father managed and all that, but things got progressively worse. When you start dealing with people who are incapacitated, who are inebriated, people who are drunk, or people who hate cops, okay, I think that putting a cop out there with just a nightstick is sort of a naive sort of idea. And the idea that, oh, yeah, that's all you need is because everybody's going to be a well-behaved citizen. Some people aren't. Some people are violent. Some people are more powerful than you. Sometimes you have to deal with gangs. Sometimes you have to do a lot of stuff. And I think that
so then by that same logic, why shouldn't they be armed with Tommy guns? Why did we take away automatic weapons from them?
Oh, because Tommy guns can have a habit of hitting lots of innocent people. They're not as discriminating.
Unlike the weapons they have now, which how often do they hit? Now this is me doing the unfair thing to you and saying you cite statistics.
But Brian,
innocent people
we could have a long, and you keep interrupting. We could have a long discussion about how are things escalated and how do we deal with conflicts. When we moved from cities where you knew who everybody was, you knew who the local drunk was, you knew who the problem was. But then when you move to larger cities and you have more complicated situations and you have citizens who are armed, if you pull a car over and you don't know if they're armed or not, okay, do you want your cop not to be armed? What becomes the threat from policing then? If you are a violent actor, what is do you care? Do you, if you can, the cops aren't armed and you are, what's the difference?
Well, and that's the tragedy is that there's no end to that argument. That argument, no matter how armed they are, you can always use that argument to make them a little more armed, a little more protected, a little more wrapped up in this body armor, looking like a robot. I didn't bring up body armor. I didn't bring up any of that. My argument is that I think that in many instances in policing, that I think that it's essential that we allow our cops to carry guns because there are situations where they have to go and they have to do things. Coming from father's a cop, my brother's a cop. I'm hard to imagine how my brother would do a hostage rescue situation without a gun. That would be tactically interesting to see how that would happen. And then when you talk about nobody can stop a dedicated person from killing the president, it happens every day. Secret Service every day stop people we don't know how dedicated they are, how capable they are, but that happens all the time. As far as figuring out people who have plots, there are good plots, there are dumb plots, there are people who are highly capable, there are people who are incapable. Okay, do you want to make it easy enough that anybody who wants to kill the president can kill the president? Is that your goal? I mean, that's ascribing a heck of a motivation to my statement, but
what's your answer? Should it be easy? Should it be easier to kill the president?
Okay, that's a dumb question, and I'm not going to answer it.
No, it's not dumb to me, Brian. It's sincerely not dumb to me. You're saying no bulletproof glass. I do not see the difference there.
I am saying I would respect a president more if he wasn't traveling in an iron box at all time. It seems like, and that's the extent of what I'm saying. I am saying me, Brian Brushwood, would respect a president more if he said, I am so confident that I'm doing what's right for everyone, and that I'm listening to everybody, and that I am acting as a fair executor of laws in this land, that I do not feel the need, I need to hide in an iron box.
Okay,
so so to that point, and on the flip side, I am saying that I feel, me, Brian Brushwood, I feel like a perverse consequence of increasing protectionist equipment is that you get situations where, during the guy who is shooting folks in Dallas, where during one of the cop rallies or whatever, where he was shooting folks, saying cops need to die. And rather than give him a fair trial, rather than come in, rather than try to defuse the situation, they strapped a grenade to a bomb defusal robot, rolled it in, and straight up assassinated him. And I don't think that was a great carriage of justice. And the only reason that moment existed is because they had over-prepared and had overly defended themselves to where the tools they had were nothing but hammers, you know?
All right,
okay,
let me separate this for a second. Okay, let me hold on a second. Justin, give me a second. Okay, you just compounded two events there. That's a separate event from talking about how we protect the president.
Well, that's
okay?
correct. I gave two opinions of me, Brian Brushwood.
Okay, let's talk about John Hinckley Jr. Okay, what motivated him to want to shoot the president? Was it because he was looking at Reagan's politics? Was it because he's sitting there reading, the New York Times and saying, you know what, I think this man is a tyrant, I need to take him out? He was crazy. Hinckley Jr. was a crazy man.
Yes,
he was a crazy person, okay?
Yes.
So no matter what policies were in place there, he wanted to kill somebody famous, and the president tends to be the most famous person there is. I don't understand. You're like, well, if you're a just president, yeah, if there are no schizophrenics, if there are no crazy people, there are no idealists.
Here's your problem. The problem with your logic, Andrew, is what you've done. Let's say you put the president in an iron box. You've saved the president, and you've killed Howard Stern or someone else. Like if what he wants is if
I lock my door, they're gonna rob my neighbor. Is that your attitude?
Again, I would prefer that we not have any part of this conversation where you put words in my mouth. But
Brian, you just did that to me. You just did that to me. You said, this is what you're saying. This is what you just did to me. You don't get to use that tactic and then say I can't apply it. I'm trying to find an equivalency here. Okay?
No. I'm saying that a side effect of your proposed scenario does not yield a decrease in the number of deaths. It only changes the targets.
If there's one death we want to prevent, what causes them? There's a reason why Secret Service men and women, why they have to they commit themselves to throwing themselves in a line of fire, is to do that. They say, let's prevent this one. Okay, you're saying if you're powerful, if we're the president of the United States, you should not use these means to protect yourself from this crazy person.
Again, I feel like you're not hearing me. I'm saying I respect you
I'm
less.
hearing you exactly. I'm just trying to understand you.
Okay, I'm saying I respect you less. I'm saying that I respect somebody who doesn't wrap himself in an iron box because he feels like he has the conviction of his actions and is willing to stand up.
Let me ask a hypothetical, and if this is unfair to your point, then stop me.
Sure.
But let's say that you continue, Brian Brushwood, Modern Rogue continues to become a success, right? And that it becomes such a success that you are now out on the road, not only performing, but doing lectures about all the cool things you can learn, right? And then for whatever reason, let's make it as cartoonishly unreasonable as possible just for the sake of this, the sake of this example. Somebody starts noticing, and you notice amongst the popularity of your channel that Brian is sneaking in messages from the Illuminati into his Modern Rogue videos, and it's brainwashing the children. And now all of a sudden you start to notice at your live performances that there are, maybe some weird elements. So people are protesting, and maybe it gets a little violent. Maybe you have during the Q&A it becomes more frequent that somebody starts standing up and screaming, and it gets just like that weird sort of vibe. The natural thing from what other people who have been in similar situations would be, all right, either put in new increased security to make sure that guns can't come in to the thing, put in metal detectors and make sure people are frisked before they come in to the performance venue, and to assign you Brian Brushwood the talent, more bodyguards that would make sure that should somebody try to run up on you, that would be taken care of. What my question is, how is that, like, in that scenario, is it your responsibility to moderate and deal with the fringe group from an information level?
Well, I think that we're conflating two different issues, because the entire scenario boils down to everything you described. Let's take it. It's like, but what if you're scared? Well, if I'm scared, then I, of course, would have to decide if I wanted to have increased things. But let's take a very realistic example, very similar to that. I respected Glenn Beck less when he attended a rally wearing a bulletproof vest, very visibly right up in front. I feel like if you're somebody who is who's being a good steward of your position, that you should hope. You should minimize outward displays of fear, and because they tend to polarize. And I feel like right now we don't need a lightning rod of polarization in this country. I would say now is a real good time for us to not have have the we'll say, yeah, I mean, again, let's take everything to the absurd. Why not have the president show up to every speech in full body armor and with a mask on? Maybe one with a respirator that makes him breathe and gives his bassy voice a deep, resonant thing that will inspire authority in others. It's like, I don't want my president giving speeches in bulletproof armor. I don't want him flying around in a B-2 bomber. I don't dig any of that. And that's my opinion. That's me. That's not the kind of leader that I really, really respect. How about that?
Cash me outside. How about that?
Fair enough. Let's go to the world of Manatee.
Well, actually, there's a crossover, because after we did the Manatee things, I saw the exciting news that SpaceX was this their first successful launch since the explosion? The second. This
is the first. They used it from the historic launch pad where the space shuttle 39, I think 39A, which was where in the movie, by the way, Tomorrowland. At the very beginning, there's this construction project at NASA that she's sabotaging. And I actually, on Twitter, I'm like, wait, that's the retrofit of that launch pad for SpaceX. So she's trying to stop SpaceX. And like the writers of the movie are like, no, she's pro SpaceX. I'm like, well, not in your movie. So this is a historic launch pad that has been, so that was the kind of what's significant there is that's the kind of the return to flight from there, which is where most of the shuttle missions went from, et cetera. So.
Well, shuttle missions, and this is where, am I right in thinking this is where the Apollo astronauts took off from?
Yeah, most of the moon missions too. And if SpaceX has their way, this is going to be where they're going to launch their ITS, interplanetary transport system. So Launch Complex 39, there are 3 launch pads, 39A, 39B, and 39C. And also, what's significant, too, is this was a NASA facility. Previously, they've been using the Air Force launch pads at Canaveral. So this is a Kennedy Space Center launch, I think, was the first for SpaceX.
Is there any reading of the tea leaves? Because, somebody somewhere approved this. Is this some kind of tacit acknowledgement that SpaceX seems to be having their act together, and that they appear to be the future of commercial space travel?
I know that there was some fighting over trying to get, I think, this particular launch pad, because I know that they had to compete with, Blue Origin was saying that they wanted to have it, and that was the Elon Musk famous quote, "Unicorns dancing in the exhaust flames."
Oh, geez.
Before Blue Origin's able to launch or something like that. So, SpaceX is in a very interesting position because there are many people within NASA and the Air Force and the government that would love to have a very reliable, cost-effective commercial partner to do this. But, the previous 2, accidents have, affected confidence, and that's something that SpaceX has to just keep up a good cadence of launching things and not having things blow up. So
how confident are we? Like, did they... Man, I don't think we've checked in on this. Did they definitively figure out what caused the fast fire / explosion?
They released their statement saying that effect.
Yeah.
Okay. What was the short version of it? Like, was it just a part up, not up to spec, or?
No, well, it was because when they were using you put liquid helium inside of a tank so that will provide pressure to help the fuel continue to flow, and they had the super cooled liquid helium went through there, or not super, the cryogenically cooled liquid helium went in there, and they put the oxygen in there, and they think there may have been some sort of defect in the line or something like that, which caused an ignition point. And they said that by changing the loading procedure, they could probably minimize.
So they acknowledged a reason and said, and we have a patch or a fix.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude, that's exciting. Okay, so I did not see the actual news reports. Did you watch it live by any chance?
No, I did not.
I saw a CNN news report, and this was at a Chili's last night, so I'm only reading the closed captioning. But one of the eyewitnesses said it was amazing because the thing took off, and right at the moment that it breaks the sound barrier, and of course it takes time for the sound to travel down, but it's like you get blasted by the sound barrier after takeoff, the sonic boom, and then just seconds afterwards, you see that first stage descending out of the low-hanging clouds, lighting up the sky, coming back down and landing. It was, I mean, they looked like they had just seen the best Grateful Dead concert ever. Might have been High as a Kite, I don't know. But they had those wide eyes of amazement on them for sure.
I can only imagine what it's like to be there to see that in person.
Do you? Okay.
That's got to be crazy. I mean, the fact that also this is something that's happening on at such hallowed ground where such history has already been made, to watch something as technically advanced where we did not think that this was possible or like feasible as short a time as it was ago is just awesome and amazing, and really just a crowning achievement for SpaceX.
Well, there was turns out Elon Musk is actually a SpaceX truther.
What?
Somebody had asked him, said, "Hey, why do most of the landings take place at night?" And his response on Twitter was, "It's easier to fake the CGI."
Man, I'll tell you what. It's like on one hand, that's a very funny joke to make on Twitter. On another hand, you just know it's going to be in somebody's, manifesto.
Well, and we talked about this. Our friend Richard Garriott, when he was, taking his trip to the International Space Station, he had joked about maybe, just like one-on-one to somebody at NASA saying like, oh man, maybe I'll get on the ham radio. Because of course that's not the ISS's equipment. He brought his own ham radio up to radio back to Earth. And he'd be like, I don't know, I see like lights. It looks like fast flying objects all around, and it was like that sense of dread that can only come from 20 years of somebody fielding conspiracy theories about orbital objects that are extraterrestrial.
Yeah, no. Did you want to talk about your manatee experience?
Oh, it was great. Justin and I, we talked about this on Night Attack, but we went to Crystal River on a pro gig, which, by the way, I'm hoping we'll be able to talk about pretty soon.
Soon, yeah. I mean, theoretically, if there was anything to talk about, hopefully those things would be available sometime within the next month or so.
Well,
I would hope.
Hypothetically, I don't think we would get in trouble if we mentioned that you and I had gone to Florida on a series of adventures on Discovery's dime.
I mean, yeah, we there were certainly social media posts of us in Florida doing fun. But on top of that, I know that I certainly have very strong opinions about vehicles that people should purchase.
Well, and we went, and one of the things we did was we went to Crystal River, which has hundreds and hundreds of manatees. Here's the part I didn't know, Justin, is I heard that back in the 70s, like there's apparently video you could see of Jacques Cousteau, who saved a manatee who was injured, and then he brought the manatee to Crystal River. And this is at a time when the migration only had like 15 manatees. Wow. I don't know if it's like deer, where I'll say manatees. But he built a place to rehabilitate, and then they released the manatee back into the wild. And you can actually see Crystal River, the Three Sister Springs, as it looked. Oh my God! Wow, it looks the same.
This is from The Forgotten Mermaids, Then and Now.
Yeah. And so you see them setting up stuff. Basically, there's this spot where there's a spring that's 73 degrees year round, and so when it gets cold in the Gulf, generations now of mothers have taught their pups calves, to migrate up to 1,500 miles to this spot, and there's a few wacky months where you can dive in and swim around with the manatees. And let me tell you, if you have the means to swim there with 2 to 3 little girls who think it's the coolest thing ever, then I highly recommend it. In fact, yeah, that's right. We got a little bit of footage here.
Explain it for the people who are listening to the audio what we're looking at.
Yeah. There, you're seeing my daughter Penny, like 4 feet away from a sea cow, swimming past, and they're all super chill, just kind of like, oh, excuse me, sir. And if you jump forward, you can see this is outside of the spring where the water's a little bit cloudy, but inside of the spring.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and this is just at the edge of the spring. Jump forward like 6 or 7 more, and I think you can actually see the water bubbling out from the sand underneath, and it's this amazing grotto that looks like it's straight out of Jurassic Park or Jurassic World. Hopefully neither. It was delightful. It was delightful, and the kids had a really good time. If you have the means, I highly recommend it. It was so good that after doing it professionally with Justin, I went home and I was like, hey, I can either bring these kids some plush toys and a vague promise that I'll take them, or we can, bend schedules upside down and backwards to make it happen. I'm so glad that we did the latter. It was really extraordinary.
The one thing that I would say for anybody in the Southeast, even if you've been around manatees, number one, the sheer volume of them is something that's really, really fun. And also, I had never really done a ton of freshwater snorkeling that was as clear as that is, because it's, feeding into the Atlantic Ocean. But it was really something extraordinary. And you realize, that freshwater, especially near springs, like snorkeling is definitely a different game when you can actually accidentally when you swallow water, you're not like gagging immediately.
Well, and plus also just it being so clear, like you almost get a sense of vertigo when you look down and you feel like you're just really high up. Here you can see me trying to swim down and blow an air ring and failing terribly. But it was man, it's hard for me to believe that was just 24 hours ago. That was insane.
That is some very, very pretty water there, and some of those springs go pretty deep and are like pretty old too, as far as finding like prehistoric creatures at the bottom.
Oh man, I feel like I let you down. I should have come back with a tale of a merbeast that I found.
Yeah, Brian. I don't know if you know the show. It's Weird Things.
Dang it!
It's called Vacation Things.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, not too far from a bit to the east of there is Silver Springs, where they shot a lot of like some of the James Bond movies and stuff. And then further south on the East Coast, actually, it was funny. I was watching a Bond movie. I'm looking it up, like, oh, they shot this in Silver Springs. Some stuff's like done in Crystal River, and then I realized, like, man, they shot this really cool sequence right up the canal from where my parents live.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh
wow. Yeah. Boy, anybody know what time it is?
Oh, I think it's time for Journey Quest!
Where were we last time?
We were last in the King's Chamber. We tried to escape, and then realized through the repeated reminders from the ether that we could best take advantage of this situation by pretending to be the infirmed and now deceased king, and have me be the new chief advisor.
That's right.
To the king.
Well, and then you were drafted into the King's army, I believe.
Yes, and now we were drafted into a fight, which is the first decision that the king had to make was whether or not to send a battalion to fend off incoming marauders.
Now, at this point, help me remember, because I know that I was wearing the armor And I think we're was I able to speak, or did I have to just communicate in gestures and grunts so as not to be detected as a
You can
false
whisper,
king?
and Justin can interpret it for you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. All right.
So next thing you know, the Duke's right-hand man has opened up the doors. They put a table in front of you. They've got a map. On the map, they show your kingdom. They show the perimeter, and they've laid out little soldiers, wooden soldiers all around. They're like, all right, these are the marauders coming. It's not marauders, it's an invading force. It's the next kingdom over, and they're ready to take over us. We need to do something about this. And here are our troops. And you guys seem like kind of original thinkers, like out of the box thinkers. We need some strategies. We need some thinking. And this is a hint. You guys are from the 21st century. Maybe you have some cool ideas for how to wage war.
I
All
lean
right.
over
Number
to
one,
Justin.
everybody only gets nightsticks. Okay.
He's like, because if we were truly good stewards of this kingdom, we wouldn't have anything to fear from
I think
competing
would be
kingdoms.
the problem. All right, but aside from that, hey folks, you're just trying to make jokes here. Try the veal. Is this thing on? Okay, so here's what we're gonna do, Brian. I'm the Duke. What do you have any ideas on modern? What year is it? We need to figure this out.
All right, I examined the board. Can I get an idea of tactically what's laid out before me? Because as somebody who's played a fair amount of Warcraft and Starcraft, I feel like I know what a top-down perspective. I'm assuming there's little soldiers and sticks that we can move stuff around.
Yep, totally. It's there.
Okay,
and they got a guy in the corner who'll carve whatever you need to.
Okay, all right. And so how big is the force? Are they coming? What direction are they coming in from?
You're basically surrounded.
Hoo boy. I lean over to Justin.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, remember that time we did that Discovery VR video about the Alamo?
Sure. Yeah. I do. Yeah.
Do you remember any military lessons that we learned during that?
Yeah. More PR. Those guys had great PR, right? They all died, and people are still yelling about, "Hey, did you forget him?" Because you shouldn't.
Okay.
So let's just start talking about how heroic. In fact, everybody, new decree. I say, hey, listen, just whisper in my ear. Just doesn't have to be anything.
Okay.
Okay.
I say, hey, I'm whispering at you right now.
Yeah. The Duke has a new decree. Everybody constantly tell each other how brave they are, and just make sure that you repeat your first and last name. All start. Justin Young. Justin Young was here, and he was very brave.
All right, I shake my head inside the armor, and I lean over and I say we need something out of the box to stop this. Also, see if you can figure out from context clues when in history we are and where this is. Maybe it's a famous battle that we know how it usually goes.
So I lean over to the king's army officials, and I just go like,
"It's the Duke, but that's fine. You can keep calling him the king. It's fine."
The Duke's military officials, and I'm just like, whew, man, who's got the time? Anybody got the time? Time? Place? Where are we at? I'm just trying to figure it out, just to see if you know.
I point to the name written on the map as if to imply like, hey, this is probably the name of where we are. Just act like it's mistranslated and verify that it's correct.
What is it on the map? What do we see?
The dukedom of El Rockdom.
I'm guessing everyone's speaking English, right? Unless we have some TARDIS thing.
It's weird. You have trouble understanding a bit, but you kind of mostly grasp it.
Man, I feel like we don't have any historical reference to hold on to, Justin. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't even a time machine, and in fact just moved us to a different part of a more advanced place in the apocalypse. I don't know, but that's neither here nor there. We're surrounded, and they're coming for us.
All right. So what's that famous move that happens when you are surrounded?
Play dead.
Wait for the elven army. Hey, y'all got any elvens around?
Haven't heard of the Elvins.
Okay.
The friends of yours?
Hey,
no, I'd like it.
Okay, hold on. Real quick. these marauders, these people invading the other kingdom, do they have a particular style of dress? Would it be possible for us to fashion like enough impromptu costumes that the moment they invade, we could all pretend to be them, and then in the flurry of, whoa, just, vacate and then take over their places?
They're they've got kind of a motley sort of look. I mean, different, they've sort of teamed together a bunch of different kingdoms and stuff, or their own sort of, people together and rulers and stuff. So,
but they don't have like a, they're not all wearing, pale blue armbands or something.
All right, I swagger to the table and I slam my hand on it and I say, "Everybody, shut up! The answer to this question is right in front of us. What we have to do is build a fake castle that they think is the real castle. And when they siege that castle, we'll sneak up right behind them and totally mop the floor with them. It's what I like to call the lesson of the parable of blazing saddles."
All right, I become increasingly convinced that they're not going to recognize my voice from behind the mask, and I just ask, hey, what kind of weapons do we have?
We got, some swords, some axes, some daggers.
Hey, I know, because I'm the Duke, that I pretty much almost certainly have a Black Ops division that I don't tell a lot of people about. Did I let you in on that? I have a hard time remembering.
No, but we got chemists and stuff. I mean, if you guys were like from some land and had knowledge about like really cool things you could make, that would be great.
I start clapping my gauntlets together and I say, "Let's go, bring the chemists. Let's go, bring the chemists."
All right, in shuffles a guy. He's missing an eyebrow because it's burned off, and there's like holes in his cloak and stuff. And he's like, "I'm the chemist. What can I do for you?"
Brian,
does the king want more of the mushrooms? I've got more of the mushrooms.
I say, "No, I'm not addicted to these," and I grab a fistful of mushrooms and stuff them in my mailed pocket.
Hey, chemist, you ever have one of them chemistry experiments that leads to sudden and violent fireballs and explosions?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, what do you say we do our best to put those behind some kind of short tube and we invent the exploding nightstick?
That way, we'll still be keeping to my decree that only nightsticks are allowed. They'll just be really fast, far-flung nightsticks, propelled by a combination of explosive gases.
Well, okay, I don't remember the precise exact formula. Could you help me out here?
It's bird poop, charcoal. I think this is real. Phosphorus. Hold on. I take a moment, I put my mailed gauntlets together, and I pray to the weirdest god of all. I say, "If you're out there, somewhere in Diamond Town, greatest DJ in the land."
No fair. Not allowed to do that. You got to do this on your own. You got to do this on your own.
My prayer goes unanswered. Okay. Okay. I seem to remember gunpowder is charcoal, phosphorus, and something else. Okay. Oh, no. I turn to the chemist and I say, "Have ye any volatile oils, the likes of which lights quite quickly?"
Sure, do. Got it.
Great. Okay. Justin, we can make potato guns. Potato gun is you need a chamber that you put hairspray in that's sealed off and some way to light it on the inside, and then a PVC tube with a potato in it. Only instead of a potato, we could do like, just, pods of we'll call it wildfire, because we're not original. And it'll launch over there and the flaming jelly will hit them and then they'll burn alive.
Not original. When he writes it, he'll be ripping us off.
Good point. Okay, so I say, how many? Justin, is there bamboo in this land? Ask him if there's bamboo in this land.
Yo, where the bamboo at?
There's no bamboo. There's no bamboo.
Okay. Well, okay. I real quick, I draw a picture of potato cannons and I say, can you make this? And with diagrams, I point to, the chamber being coated and stuff and the way to light it with a spark, maybe a flint and steel.
Yep. Build it.
Great. How many can you build and how fast? And will it happen? Can we be prepared for this invasion?
Well, since our Duke had ordered something called a bong, we never explained what they were for. We actually have a bunch of the tubes already made.
Sweet.
Perfect. Hey, what do you say? Could you just pour a lot of that very, very, very unstable liquid in just a bunch of bottles? Also, just go ahead and find some of the finest linens in the land. Just go ahead and stuff them right at the stem of the bottle. And I want all of the Army's surest-handed men to be ready to throw those upon lighting the linen.
Done. They will follow your orders explicitly.
Okay, so, hey, what time, and I hold my mailed fist up as if there's a wristwatch there and point to my wrist, and I say, what time is this invasion planned for?
They're getting ready any time now. We have some good perimeters up there, but, maybe being able to strike them first might not be a bad idea. And what was this thing you mentioned with you said charcoal and stuff? Did you ever figure out what you want with that?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I had this dream in which I was watching an episode of something called Transformers, where they went back to the Middle Ages, and Starscream was definitely covered in bird poop as he came and he says, I've got the phosphorus, and I should also lead the Decepticons. And then they invented gunpowder, and that's definitely where I'm stealing this idea from. But that was all in a dream, and I knew it was phosphorus from bird poop and charcoal. I don't know what else.
Yeah, it's that other thing, Brian. It's that other thing.
Gunpowder. I really want to cheat, but I shouldn't cheat. Damn.
I will say, by the way, when you looked at your wrist from the back of the room, Albert J. Wristwatch just said, hey, that gives me an idea.
Not knowing the answer, I just shrug and say, I don't know, try saltpeter.
Oh, yeah, you see, you might be... Your saltpeter and your phosphorus thing are a little bit fuzzy there. There's a third thing. There's a third thing you need. A third thing.
Oh, wait. Hold on. I looked at Justin pleadingly, and I mouthed the words. I lift up the mailed face so that he can see me. No, I'm looking away from everyone. I lift it halfway up so he can see my lips as I mouth the words. Help me.
I don't know. Wood. Wood chips, sawdust.
Let's try wood. I don't know.
All right. You want sawdust chips?
Yeah. That.
All right.
Sure.
I got a big barrel of sulfur. I'll just go dump that out and go collect all of your your chips and stuff.
I slap my mailed knee and it rings out in front of everyone as I remember sulfur.
All right. Sulfur, charcoal, and
saltpeter.
Saltpeter.
Yeah.
Saltpeter. It's a word we all know, but we don't know what it is. But we'll just
know. Yeah. Edgar J. Saltpeter says coming right up.
Yeah. So, all right, I'm gonna send my little assistant off to go mix that up. All right, he's fast. Boom. Let me go check in on that. Not good. I need another assistant. Is there more specific instructions?
I say make.
At this point, I go into a musical line-by-line Disney-esque song where I describe how to make gunpowder in the key of Mary Poppins.
Done. So now we've got bags and bags of gunpowder.
I didn't know that was an option. How did I know that? Ah, damn it!
Apparently, you could just roll for knowledge here.
God,
All right.
oh, yeah, all right.
Well, the first thing you need to do is grab that taco.
I was waiting for the whole thing.
So now you've got scads and tons of gunpowder.
Okay, so now I say I want 10,000 bags of this gunpowder.
Whoa! We're not China here, okay?
All right. I want as many bags as you can muster, and I want them all piled up in front of the front of this castle. Okay, and my word is infallible because I'm the Duke. As many as you can muster, put them all right in front of the castle, and then wait until the army comes near.
Okay. The Duke. All right. Hey, Duke.
Whispering.
Great job, man. Great job. Hey, it's me, Justin. I'm the one who sang about how to make gunpowder. So here's the thing. He's very tired. So we're just going to go ahead and take the spirit of his instructions and not actually the letter of it. And what we're going to do is take all that gunpowder and those I'm going to call them Justin cocktails.
Look, okay. First of all right, Justin, I have a plan.
We have to go take them on because if we go and with the element of surprise, hit them with technology they've never seen before, it'll be better than waiting until we're literally under siege.
Okay, hold on. Do you trust me? Do you trust me? I hold up a mailed finger. It's a pinky finger. I say, okay, all right, look, let's meet in the middle. You do your plan. I just want 10,000 bags of white powder, and just give me 5 or 6 of these Justin cocktails, all right? And if my plan doesn't work, you could do your plan.
Okay, we're gonna do my plan, and then if my plan fails, then yours will be the backup plan.
Okay, but there has to be 10,000 white trash bags out in front of the castle, and then
they got to be white.
Okay, because
Anyway,
they pop.
I point
visually.
him out and I say, like, "Hey, did we just invent racism? All right, here we go."
Okay, great.
So I say, of course, the Duke will be heard. Give him literally 10. And then we move on with my plan to go preemptively attack the enemy.
Okay. Well. By the way, my plan, Justin. Okay. All right. I realize nobody's gonna do it unless I do it, and so I go to the laundry room. And I'm like, your Duke commands you take all of this laundry, put it in white bags, stack them up 20 feet tall, just the giantest stockpile of laundry you've ever seen right in front of the castle. And I grab my 10 bags of Justin cocktails and I walk out in the drawbridge and I just wait. I wait for the approaching army.
So one, we're confused to what a laundry room is, but we'll get past that. Second is what you have laundry?
Okay, look, no, I just want a lot of bags in front of this castle. I have a plan. I don't think Justin's going to be able to defeat us completely surrounded by marauding, even with superior technology. I do believe he'll be able to take out massive numbers of them, and I want to be there with my plan if that goes awry. It's called a bag.
Also, by the way, flashback to 5 minutes ago when I made the joke about why do the bags have to be white. Edgar J. Racism scratched his head and goes, "That gives me an idea," and walked out the room. Anyway, back to the present.
So what's in the bags?
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. There's just lots of them, and I've got a few bags that really work.
Okay. All right.
Meanwhile, I'm marshaling our forces by giving a very stirring speech that, listen, I'm not going to be one of those medieval generals who's going to say, in a month, I'm going to go attack these forces. And then meanwhile, all the bad guys, they leave. They leave. How are we so stupid? We don't tell them. We go without telling them. We're not going to be one of those. We're going to tell them. Let's go right now.
Okay.
We go
still
with
holding
our guns and our Justin cocktails and march out in a surprise attack on the forces that are just now gathering to attack us.
All right. So you launch your first volley of Justin cocktails. What do you call the explosions? Jury bombs?
Happy parties.
Cleansing flame.
Cleansing flames that go boom.
Yeah.
All right, so you launch your preemptive salvo. You go to the biggest, thickest part of the forces. You've started not just decimating, literally just wiping out. Like you just caved in about a third of them. Like they're just caught off by surprise. The rest go running and screaming. The other ones start to marshal around and go sweep back around you and start approaching the castle from the rear.
Okay. I immediately say, move all the bags to the rear. And I walk around still holding.
Fortunately, it's an uphill climb for them, so you've got time to do that.
Good. Okay, so the bags are there, and I stand there waiting to see how the rest of Justin's military strategy plays out.
I'm like, yeah, chase him down, shoot him in the butt.
Yeah, so Justin's people are trying to chase them down, but these people were motivated by fear and were moving pretty quickly. So now they're hoarding towards the castle where you're at, Brian.
Okay, so I turn and I say, somebody blow a horn. Make it like something that sounds like an entreaty, a peace accord.
Also, Edgar J. Horn says, that gives me an idea. Walks out of the room.
And so I begin to march down the hill, holding up my bags of Justin cocktails for a peace agreement. And I stop and I say, send me an emissary, and I fling a Justin cocktail to show it explode, like in a vivid demonstration of our superior technology.
So the emissary is walking towards you and you throw it at him?
No, I throw it off to the side. This is, I didn't know he was coming. I say, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were already coming. I thought I needed to bedazzle you with my powers. But now that you're coming, come on up. And I promise I won't throw another. All
right. So he approaches you and he's, about 5 feet away.
And I say, bring Justin, my trusted advisor, down. And I say,
and he's like, hey, you threw one. Why are you still holding both fists up in the air?
I say, because these are a gift to you. And I open up one and I show the powder inside. We will give to you the secrets of the Justin cocktail and these 10,000 bags behind you if you will give safe passage to me and my traveling companion Justin so that we may escape this land.
You sell out. Sell out. What?
I say, but I say, we feel no allegiance to anyone in this castle. We feel like in many ways this is not where we belong, and we want to make use of this.
We're better than the Duke right now. You can reveal yourself to not be the Duke, and we would be kings. We would rule this land. We can declare ourselves kings.
I lift up the mask. I say, also, I'm not the Duke. He's not here. We just handed you this land. All you have to do is conduct safe passage to us.
Where are we going?
Like literally anywhere but where we'll be eventually figured out to be a frauds.
And we ourselves to be frauds, but we've just won a stunning, decisive military thing. Throw flame in this man's face, melt his skull, and say, "Hey, anybody else? You want to go ahead and put your name on some surrender treaty because we're your new king?"
So I turn back to him and I say, "I suppose it's your choice then. Will you have a profitable domination of this land, or do you want to be destroyed at the hands of our superior technology?"
I also turn around to everybody and I'm like, okay, again, so Brian's obviously not the Duke, but he is also very confused. We're 100% in on this whole castle thing. Like, we're way about it. In fact, the Duke sent for us knowing that he was on his dying breath. Well, sorry, we had to have the subterfuge there.
I turn around and I say, your Duke was an asshat. He was a total D-bag who was killing people for his own. Also, he's dead upstairs. He died. He died.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and clarify that message a little bit and say, yay, Castle, we are here for you. We are here to ensure your military dominance, unlimited prosperity.
I just sit down cross-legged and fold my arms over, and I say, well, anytime you guys want to decide, you just let me know.
Next time on Journey Quest.
Oh my god! One warring, angry army wasn't enough for you. You had to have two. You had to have two.
No, well,
Two
what?
entire
That's,
groups.
we're gonna disappear. They don't know who we are. I don't know who this
You're in the
land.
middle. Okay, I'm done.
For
We're out of-
all
we're out
we
of
know,
time.
this
An army with primitive versions of guns and Molotov cocktails, and now we want to immediately turn against them.
Well, no, we want to be rushed off. Look, maybe they can get us to Paris or something, and we can become, I don't know, land barons or I don't know.
I got a feeling where we are too.
This place sucks, by the way.
Well, okay, all right. Hey, picks, everybody. We all got picks. Who's got a pick? I got a pick. How about this one? It's a show on FX. It's called Legion. It's set in the FX or in the X-Men universe. It is probably one of the more cinematic shows I think I've ever seen on television. In that it is very kind of esoteric, and I don't quite think I understand exactly what the hell's happening. But it is well made and super fun, and it's going to be one of those shows that will either always be visually amazing, but incoherent, or it will continue to reveal itself to be a very, very rad genre story, which I'm always a big fan of. So Legion.
I'll go with 1 second after the story of EMP destroying a small town and the rest of America. I just realized I just wanted to share a bunch of spoilers about what happens, but it's a story of what happens after EMPs take out technology.
My pick, I watched the first season this weekend, and that is the Starz show Ash versus Evil Dead.
Oh, so good! So good!
Brian, have you seen it?
Yes. It's a lot of fun.
I would say the first couple episodes they were fun, but it was certainly finding its pacing and finding out what it was going to be kind of a bit. And I would say that after like the third episode, it kind of got its groove and it knew what kind of show it was going to be. And have you watched season 2 yet?
I got halfway. I got caught up to real time, and then decided to let my Starz subscription lapse. So I've got the last half of season 2 waiting for me.
It is a show that, like, Sam Raimi, Rob Tappert, Bruce Campbell, who did the original, producers on this, Sam Raimi and Robert Tappert, who've gone on to do amazing, great things. It's a show that knows what made the Evil Dead movies so much fun, and then you watch this and you're like, my God, this is just this. You could not see this in a movie theater. Some of the horrific stuff they do. The morgue scene from season 2.
Yes. No, that was amazing. Like I tried, and by the way, it's very difficult to describe that kind of scene to someone out of context, because it does a great job of priming you to the over-the-top gore set pieces, and where you're kind of twisting but laughing at the same time. It's when you describe it to Bonnie, it doesn't resonate. She's like, I'm glad you're watching it, not me.
This show is disgusting. It is over, and it says, hey, we think that the gore is a source of the humor because it's just so over the top. It's like if you're in for a little, go in for a lot, and it goes excessive. I mean, it's just violent. It's comedy, horror. And it's like, yeah, we're just going to go all in on that. And there are scenes there that are disgusting that I'm going, oh, God. And there's a scene in the morgue that's just, go morgue. How gross can that be? I can't imagine anything grosser than what I saw. I imagine anything grosser.
I also love the twisteroo of like, person missing a body part grew a new body part. And then it turns out, nope, body part missing a person just grew a new person. And so great.
It is a fun show. Great, see Bruce Campbell doing the Bruce Campbell thing, and the scenes with him are just wonderful. The Ash is still Ash.
I loved the casting of Buck Rogers as his dad. Was a lot of fun.
$6 Million Man.
Was it? Oh yeah, never mind. Whatever. One of them.
Lee Majors.
That's who it was. Yeah. Sorry. Good point. No, it was great.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Gil Gerard could be his real father for all we know.
Maybe he finds out it was his fake dad.
Yeah, there's a great, like, son, something I have to tell you, and I won't tell you what happens next, but you get the show, you're like, I know. You kind of like, what's going to happen, and you're just waiting for it. It's awesome. So, big fan. Justin, have you seen it?
I've not, no, but I'll be excited now that both of you have done it. It puts untold pressure on me to start getting in on it.
Well, don't forget, you get a free week of stars if you have an Amazon subscription. Just go and search for Ash vs. Evil Dead. It'll say, hey, you could pay for this episode or get a week of stars free and watch all of them. And then hopefully you won't forget and find yourself signed up for stars, and it won't be for something silly like what was it you watched again, Bryce?
Like Paul Blart Mall Cop 2.
Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. Did you have a pick, Bryce?
I do. I normally don't have a pick, but I had a chance to play something really cool last night, and I think it fits really well for the show. Do you guys play? Are you guys familiar at all with like not text adventure games, but there are these mobile phone games where a story takes place kind of in real time, and you get. Like you say, oh, go do this, and then they'll be like, okay, and then they go away for an hour, and then you get a little text when they come back. Like this is a new genre of text storytelling.
You're talking about when you say text, you mean like SMS texts?
Well, they're all in an app and push notifications and stuff. So, but it comes in like a text or text messages.
Right, but your interaction is with other characters purely through what feels like an SMS or chat-like experience.
Yeah. And there are a couple of them. A lot of them are like sci-fi, and some of them are like romancy ones, and generally they're all really, really horrible. But I was reminded a lot about them from a game that I played that is, I feel, almost the opposite of those games. I think those are all pretty bad because they are fighting themselves to just tell you a good story. It's a game on Steam called Killing Time at Light Speed. And it's a very short game. It's like $10. It's only about a half hour. But I think you can actually play it more than once to kind of get different outcomes. But the idea is that you are on a ship. You've just boarded a ship to go off-world, outer planetary space travel is a thing, and people are colonizing different planets, and people are leaving Earth to go and find opportunities. And you are on this ride. It's like they say, oh, this is going to be a 30-minute ride, but because of the way that the space travel mechanism doodad works, is that there is a time difference between what you are experiencing and what Earth experiences. So what they say when you start at the thing is, your space travel will take about a half hour, but on Earth, time will advance forward 29 years. Mm-hmm. And so as a part of that, we have worked a deal with this thing that's not called Facebook, but it's like Facebook, where you can check on your social media feeds during this trip. And so the idea is that you are constantly checking in with your loved ones on social media at a hyper accelerated pace.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's really cool, and it's a nice little thing. And I feel like I would probably go and play it again because it seems like there is actually a lot of choices that you can make. So I think it's really cool, and it's kind of a weird value proposition for such a short game for $10, but I think it's really well made. There's a lot of text to read and a lot of interesting personalities that you kind of get to experience.
Andrew, it reminds me of Haldeman's The Forever War. Did you ever read that? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, we're like in kind of like the fourth trip into there. We're like what's normal, like he comes back for the premise in Forever War is that we're fighting this intergalactic or fighting this war and sending people out at near light speed, and they come back, their soldiers come back, and 20 years goes by, 30 years goes by, or 100 years, and so society changes so much. And it was kind of a parable for Vietnam. Mm-hmm. And he comes back at one point, and the fact that he's straight is weird because everybody else is gay.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Whatever, breeder, weirdo.
Yeah.
Well, there are interesting things there too, and it actually left me like I felt pretty weird at the end of it because the way that it ends is I won't spoil it, but the ending is caught me by surprise and I was not surprised by it at all. So I think it's pretty cool. Killing Time at Light Speed.
Awesome.
Nice. Excellent. It's been weird.
Damn right.
Break.
Yep.
Break.
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 All right, we're gonna come back in a few minutes. We'll keep the stream on, but we'll be back in a few minutes for After Things. This is gonna be the show where we talk about creativity and doing work as a creative professional. He says as he hits 1,000,000 buttons at once.
You're hitting a lot of buttons.
A lot of buttons.
Man, I wish you guys could see this. The special effects are extraordinary. I mean, the budget.
One of the fun little touches of that game, this is very innocuous, but you get two websites that you can visit. You can get a Facebook sort of thing and a Reddit sort of thing. And so when you start, the Reddit sort of thing is just like just a list of news articles, and you can click some of them to read them, and that's it. And then after a certain amount of time, you get the upvotes and the downvotes, and then after a while, it changes to just upvotes. Like it's a very interesting like
commentary on the evolution of the way media used to work, where it was one way top down, then it became yeah. Interesting.
It's fun. Yeah.
Very cool. All right, well here we're having a pee party.
Welcome to Chair Things. No, it's me. Creative professionals being unprofessional after days to update that dash so people know what they're in for. Laura Man says, looks like Andrew has a studio. But he upgraded a corner of his apartment with all sorts of baffling, and it looks really great. He's got some lighting, and it's fantastic. I really like it. You guys have any questions while we finish or we get ready for the After Things? Stretch. I should stand up, huh? I'm gonna take questions and stand up. Gambling Man, it's the show where the host can. Hey, Andrew.
Hello. New camera, by the way.
Oh, is it? I thought you were looking pretty nice. Is that the C920?
Yes, sir.
It's a good cam. It's a good camera.
Yeah, I was looking like that C922, but I couldn't see a appreciable difference.
Oh, I didn't know they made a 922.
Yeah, they like 922X or something like that, but it looked like just more of a software difference.
Yeah. I feel like if I was Logitech, I feel like it'd be pretty bittersweet about having made like a really great really great webcam that everyone I would say pretty universally like recognizes as like a standard good camera, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But then also like how do you like where do you go from there, you know?
I think that, you know, what would be good would be a variable focus.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I think because like it's such a wide, you know, the full thing is so much wider than, you know, what I need, but
yeah, or just more like pro control. That would be the thing if I was Logitech, is make a webcam for you know, people who use webcams professionally. Like streaming is such a big thing right now that like that Logitech app panel thing that they have like still sucks a lot.
Yeah, the Logitech gaming, like they call it the gaming interface or something like that.
What sucks?
The software controls for the C920. Andrew got a new camera.
Oh yeah. It looks good.
Yeah, he got a C920.
Yeah.
I'll show you, like, because the problem I was having, like, my eyesight on here, like, it is just blown out like crazy. I don't know what happened.
No, as a matter of fact, I remember noticing during the show that you were wearing a blue shirt, and yet you could still see all the texture on there, and it didn't look weird. You're wearing a blue shirt on a black chair, and yet it works just fine with the blue and black background in the background. I thought it looked really good.
Yeah.
When you added those new lights last week, right, Andrew?
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
You're using the C20 on a Mac. right?
Yeah.
Because I think there, if I remember correctly, there are fewer controls with the default controller on the Mac than there are in the PC. The PC one I think is actually pretty good because I mean we used the C920s for exclusively until we got the Lumixes, but I remember Justin was using it and there was a lot of things I could do that he couldn't, and that Justin wasn't there like a kind of a bootleg workaround where it's like you could download an outside app that somebody had kind of hacked drivers that gave you control over contrast and
that does sound familiar, but I can't remember it offhand.
I would say it's probably worth Andrew looking into seeing if there's some alternate set of precise controls because you can set.
I have that installed. I have eyeglasses.
Oh, is that what it's called? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Okay.
a clever title for it. Eyeglasses, eyesight.
Clever.
Yeah, let me show you. If I go to
Twitch JC says eye contact. See, that's clever.
Do we have an angle that we wanted to do for After Things?
I was trying to think about that. Do we want to do like things that like I know but I don't do? You know, like things I know I should be doing but I don't.
Oh shit! No! Like an alternate reality thing. Like the better version of Brian would be doing this. The better version of Justin, or
Oh,
maybe,
I got one. I got one.
Maybe a
immediately.
benefit of hindsight 2020 and all that.
Hey, Andrew, your video went black?
Yeah, I was just trying to. I'm having a
Yeah.
big. Everything's running slow on me for a second here. I was switching something up and trying.
That's
to
a great idea, man.
close
Let's all
things
turn our
down.
cameras off.
Yeah, no,
it's,
not so much that idea. No, but seriously, why do you feel
what if this was
beholden
the
to
show?
this time travel castle, Justin? Like we don't owe them nothing. They were gonna kill us.
No, but we are heroes.
They were on your side.
No, but they
We
were
had
gonna
just
fight.
established hegemony of these two. We had crushed in a decisive victory the invading force, and had won the favor of the castle that we were in. So we could literally now, in the spirit of victory, say, "Look, haha, we weren't the Duke, but now we're all y'all's kings." So instead of being like, "Hey, give us passage," we could say, "As your new king, we demand a tour of our new winnings."
I just feel like we're gonna get found out. I'm like, let's drop this. Let's put on some fancy clothes, and I'll be a geisha courtesan from the Far East, and you could be my translator. And we'll.
I would love to hear how that exchange goes, actually.
Also, I think I would be very much into the idea of like just giving all the fucking everything away immediately. If we knew where we were going, we don't even know where we are right now.
Dude, all I know is this is a dead end. This is a dead end castle and a dead end kingdom. We gotta move to where the action is.
I'm saying, sure, but that's why our first official business as new rulers is to go where we want to go and then just leave.
Hey, by the way, one of the suggested titles is the episode where Brian Brushwood ruins every aspect of the episode. I count that as a triumph. Like, that's territory where in the past we really would ruin the episode and make it not fun. But I felt like all of us did a good job of carefully classing. I thought we exercised good communication skills and kept the show on track.
I mean, we definitely didn't stop the episode, so
yeah. I thought that was flirting with dangerous territory, and we threaded that stone needle.
I agree. I agree with flirting with dangerous territory.
We'll probably call it Jeep Impact anyway.
Yeah. Alex, good. Andrew?
We feeling good?
Sorry, it was I had for some everything was running slow on me. I was trying to shut down a bunch of things.
Pornhub.
Well, we've got a frozen video of you right now, and we're showing everybody a really good. You actually had a really
It's
good
actually
pause
really
face.
good.
I no.
Oh no, it's back.
Hey,
You're back. You're back. All is well.
One. Any of you watched the new Life on the Road, the Ricky Gervais?
No, not yet. Is it any good?
I'll talk about it on after things.
Okay. While we're also talking about it, have you watched? It's not The Magicians. What is the documentary that's now on Netflix?
I think it's Magicians or something like that.
Yeah. I watched the preview and I was like, oh crap, that's an accurate documentary of this lifestyle that we live.
Magician's Life in the Impossible.
Yeah.
The magic documentary.
Yeah.
I would say that.
Should we save it for the show?
I haven't seen it.
I haven't
So,
seen- I
I mean,
haven't
I
seen
know
it
a
either.
lot of the behind the scenes on there, though, so that's kind of like why it's like.
Okay, so
Who
it's
does it
it's a little
follow?
bit. Once you know a bit about how the sausage is made, it changes your.
Oh, so what? That Mike Super? Who else is? Who does it follow?
Oh, that was Juan Ravine. It was Juan
Juan
Ravine
Ravine?
who.
Yeah,
and they don't get into.
Oh, Jesus, really?
Brian Gillis.
So it's a documentary where Juan Ravine looks like the person who has it together, and John Armstrong looks like a guy who's sort of struggling when John's really kind of, John had a great, been doing great, since this thing. It's sort of like show him on the road in the $28 sort of Super 8 motels and, struggling. He go, when he went through his divorce and that, but since he's done his Penn and Teller Fool Us, he's, he's a demand lecturer and stuff. So they make John look like this wah guy, and then Juan Ravine, like, well, this guy's in Vegas,
Oh my God! But do they go in? Do they get to the end with
No.
Jan
No.
Rovin?
Nope.
Oh.
They don't. Well, do yourself a favor and go ahead and Google Jan Rovin and fucking find out where he is. Let's just say I don't know if he's able to watch the movie, if they're allowed to get that through.
Oh boy. Yeah, he's because in the Peace Corps he might be out in some very remote territory. Question mark. He said.
Also, I would hope that he would watch it on DVD, because previously keeping certain movies and pictures on his hard drive are what got him where he went.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, so it's Jan Ravine, Frank Alfter, David Minkin, Brian Gillis, and John Armstrong.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna forget Brian never mentioned it. Oh yeah, that's a fact.
I will say that before his arrest, Jan Rovin was one of, like, whenever anyone's like, oh, I want to go see magic in Vegas, what should I see? It's like, all right, well, if you want to see a great, like at the top of their game magic show, Penn and Teller are probably the biggest people that you would know the most, that work the most on the new stuff in your show. If you've never seen David Copperfield, you need to see David Copperfield immediately. And other than that, if you want awesomely bad magic, then you see Jan Rovin. And I can say that now because I don't know if he can hear me.
Oh my god, because I'm a coward.
Also, he's got bigger fish to fry than some random person on the internet suggesting that he is awesome bad magic.
Andrew,
I know. I'm
Yeah.
trying to fix this here. I
Okay.
don't know what's going on. Hold on.
just making sure. Well, no. And if we have some people in the other chat. There's no DTNS today, so
So you're stuck with us,
yeah. watch-
FOs.
Join us as we talk about being creative professionals in a little bit.
Yeah, actually, folks, that you're talking about in the Diamond Club chat,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. If you're in the Diamond Club chat, we would love to have, we read both chats. If you want, if you want to be in the studio audience, post in the Twitch. If you want to speak to us directly, post in the Diamond Club chat and ask your questions, and we'll do our best to answer them and integrate them into what's going on.
Yeah. Did Brian, did you get a chance to see the Michael Bolton special on Netflix?
I haven't. I still, and I won't be able to see it in time for Cord Killers.
Right.
So it'll be. I got to squeeze in Justified. I might have gotten one ahead. Oftentimes, what will happen is I'll get excited about Justified after we do it on Monday, and then like that late that night or the next day, I'll watch it as a throwaway, and then I'll get to the panic. I'll be like, oh wait, I gotta watch, and then I'll hit play, and I'm like, I have to watch this one. Yeah. So I don't know where I'm at on Justified, but I know I have to watch the last half hour of The Young Pope.
Mm-hmm. Oh really? You stopped midway on that episode?
Yeah.
Boy, howdy.
What's funny is like the number 9 episode of the 10, I thought was so good that it almost felt like it could have been the ending. And it's like, but it was only after starting the 10th, and I was like, oh yeah, no, I guess there are these unresolved. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like number 9 is this. I'm giving a preview of what I'll say on Cord Killers, but number 9 was such a. Oh, he's just a human like the rest of us trying to work stuff out, and he gets some right stuff and some wrong stuff.
Was one of us.
Yes, exactly. And then, I don't know.
Interesting. I'll be interested to hear what your take is after the end of season 10. Or episode 10.
So is that done, or are they coming back with more Young Pope?
They've already confirmed a second season.
Oh, they have?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right on.
But in terms of like if there will be more than that, I don't think we know. I think maybe they were calling it a part 2 thing. Maybe I would like it to be
the younger Pope, and it's like a kid. He's 8. He's like, well, I don't know how I became a Pope.
Well, you know okay, I'll save it for spoiling time because I have a very specific theory about it.
Okay, good.
But I think they could do a very leftoversy or like archery thing where they change the whole paradigm in the second season. Yeah, I don't know. It would be very cool. So Andrew's, I'm assuming, just restarting everything.
Yeah.
So,
In the meantime, did you see my clip of the promo video from the Orlando airport with the
the shitty wakeboarder?
Yeah, the skimboarder. This like it's in the loop, and it's like they have this very clearly like well choreographed drone shot. It's all gorgeous footage, but it's of somebody bricking his here. Look, dope.
Wait.
So here, watch it again. So you see a surfer.
Okay, surfing, cool.
And then guy in the back is like, I didn't. like come and screw up your skimboarding experience.
That's pretty funny.
He's like, this is gonna be about. Oh, never mind.
Oh, is hacking the system leaving Netflix?
Yeah, that's gonna be my pick for After Things. Watch the archaeological dig of my first foray into television dissolve into dust live.
Oh.
I mean, it's just weird because like it's been fun to know that hacking the system lived on in the afterlife of Netflix, but then I found out that the afterlife you can die in, and now I don't know where it's gonna live after this.
Oh, got it. I thought you were talking about the Modern Rogue. I was like, well, keep doing it.
Oh, no. Modern Rogue is the currently living reincarnation.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure it'll pop up somewhere.
I kind of want to make a... You know what? Maybe I could do a marathon and live stream because I haven't watched it in a year and change.
Just do like a 5-hour riff tracks.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun thing.
That would be fun.
Or you could just go on Rabbit. I don't know. Rabbit's for like groups of people, so it might be too many people.
Rabbit's that thing where you watch a thing and other people watch you watching that thing?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Like it basically does a like a virtual computer that you can do your logins and stuff to.
Right on.
But it's interesting because it's like not your computer, so you can. Hey, Andrew.
Hello.
We can see and hear you.
And you look great.
You're looking fantastic today.
I'm feeling a little delayed.
No.
No, I think there's some.
You look good.
There's probably some built-in delay on just what you see, but you are in sync to us. Yeah. Oh, look at that smile. That. Ooh.
Oh, dude, the Magic Castle is doing a Magic Castle AMA. Is that right? For an alpha party? I don't know what that is.
Alpha party?
Well, I'll be there. Running the thing.
Power playing them, huh?
Join Team Alpha is apparently a thing.
All right.
God, can you believe that was
feel like
7 years ago? 7 years ago, we played the Magic Castle together.
Oh, jeez. Ugh.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
We haven't aged a day. Years, but not a day.
Yeah, not a day.
Yeah, anyway, that's awesome. All right.
All right. You feeling good, Andrew? You got your tech stuff shaked out? You feel it? Get it out
Mark
of your bones?
Struck in gaming. I think you got it exactly right.
Magic Castle. That was a good bit on Arrested Development.
People are like, what do you think of Job on Arrested Development? What do you think about that? I'm like, I think he's awesome. I think he's my role model.
I also think I know him personally in 4 different friends of mine.
Oh, I wish we were that charismatic.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, ready to go?
Ready to go. Take it away, Andrew, in 3, 2.
Welcome to the After Things podcast. I'm Andrew Main, joined by Brian Brushwood,
Hello, beautiful people.
Justin Robert Young.
Hello, everybody. It's me, Justin Robert Young.
Dateline 2017. 3 independent creatives gathered together to give you the inside sauce on everything they did wrong.
Well, that's going to be the premise. I just got to say, I walked by, there's across the street from there's a bar called Sardo's, famous for what they used to call a porn star karaoke night. Which guess who would go do karaoke there? But I saw there was a mentalist appearing there named Robert Young.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
I'm like, ready?
Wait, wasn't that wasn't Adam Carolla? We were just having a nostalgia bomb over the fact that it was 7 years ago that we were at the Magic Castle together, you and me, Andrew Main. During that time was when we got booked on the Adam Carolla podcast, and
Justin.
Me and Justin, and
technically Brian got booked. Justin just kind of showed up.
Yeah, but then meanwhile, Justin dominated the conversation because Adam Carolla was obsessed with your name being Justin Robert Young. You're like, wasn't Robert Young an actor in the 70s?
No, he was obsessed with the fact that I didn't know who Robert Young the actor was. And just kept berating me that I should know, and that Robert Young was a huge star, and that it was offensive that the folly of my youth would not know that Father Knows Best star Robert Young was a person.
Okay, old man.
Yeah. Hey, man, I ain't gonna say that.
It was very much, and as a huge fan of the show, especially at the time, it was on one hand, it's like, oh, it's one of those classic Adam Carolla's old rants, and then you just realize it's like, no, he's serious and he's yelling at you, and you should like,
yes.
We can't all be up on the Fatty Arbuckle history.
I know, Jesus.
Gentlemen, so the premise for today, the discussion is, we mentioned this prior, is the idea of what do you know that you're not doing? What's the, because we talk about this like, oh, here's advice, and then there's a thing like, yeah, I'd be great advice if I took my own advice, but I don't, so I suck.
This one is slam dunk guaranteed for me, and it is only more keenly aware as we hurdle ever closer to tax season, but just automating and keeping better track of my deductibles. When you are independent, it's up to you to find everything that you can deduct from everything else. And it's like, I just always hate the tax season, not only because you have to pay when you are not paying taxes throughout the year, but also because there is just this like dripping in sweat, terrifying, 4 days where I'm just pouring through every credit card transaction I've ever had and putting stuff together so I can then give it to somebody else. Like, I don't even do my own taxes. I do enough of the work to give to somebody else, and that is terrifying, especially considering I should just be able to automate a lot of this. I should just be able to do this each month. I should be paying quarterly. It would be probably easier for me to pay quarterly, but I never do because it's just like, oh God, why would I want to spread 4 terrifying days when I can just have one?
I'll tell you what, man. There was that I don't know, 4 or 5 days where I was hanging out with Grant Thompson, the King of Random, probably the hottest thing on YouTube right now. You've probably seen him do a billion videos, but he really does just wake up and think of a project that day. Like, hey, I've got this idea for 2 or 3 projects. Let's go to Walmart. Let's go to Goodwill. Let's go whatever. And he really would, every single time he bought any one thing, he would log it and take a picture of the receipt and then crumple up the receipt and throw it away. And he knew that there was no chance he would forget to have that be a deductible expense down the road, because he knows right there in that moment he was definitely buying it for the intention of using it on the show, whether he used it or not. There's no after the fact like, well, I don't know, of this $3,000 of Amazon, and some of that was watching movies and some of that was selling this other thing. Like, he seemed to have a blissful monk-like peace about him that came with using one of these logging apps that just every single thing he ever touched ever, it was just part of the 5 seconds he had to do and then never had to think about it again.
Yeah, and there are plenty of them. Expensify is one of them. People are suggesting in the chat room, and I am aware of them, and I don't do it because I'm bad at taking my own advice.
You know what? You are not alone because I definitely have spent 20 years now in the exact same position. 20 years. And finally, only the last year has been the place where let me put it this way. It took 20 years to get to a point where I was finally willing to budget that fantasy that most of us have of somebody else being the adult with money, and because you hire an accountant to do your taxes and then you present the story to your accountant. But this is my first year of doing a bookkeeper as an intermediary, where a bookkeeper just watches everything come in and categorizes and then calls from time to time saying, what was this? And then you're like, it was that. And then, she puts it in the categories. I have a low grade fear that is amplified because I'm not even the one in charge of telling the story. Somebody else is in charge of telling the story, and I get to find out, in the next month or two, what kind of story she tells.
So taxes. I would say that with me, it comes down to, I say this a lot on my Periscope sessions, that we have to focus, that you can have a lot of different projects, but if you don't focus on one, then you're going to be spread all over the place. And I find myself doing this again and again. The other day I sat down and said, let me just write down on a piece of paper all the things I'm supposed to be doing right now, the things I need to be doing right now. And, I list them like, all right, here's the list. And I'm like, oh, wait, there's one more. Let me add that there. And then I'm like, okay. And now I want to add another project. I want to add another project to this list. So that's been kind of my thing lately, is have that list of not the things I want to do, but the things that I'm actively told people, no, I'm doing this right now. And it's frightening because it's like, the problem with being creative people is we have that, hey, I have a creative solution to this thing that I don't want to do, so I'm going to go do something else. And then you want to go do the other thing, and then the other things get abandoned. You never finish anything. So I would say that, what I'm trying to do right now is finish and get the things done that I'm trying to do and not use something else as an escape boat. It's like, oh, I'm just going to go hop on board this here, jettison everything else away, or just pretend I need a timeout.
That is and Justin and I were talking about this. I don't know if we've talked about this on After Things, but both Justin and I are transitioning, or as all three of us, at some point have enjoyed the seductive life of constantly moving gig to gig, and along with that, not only having, people clap for you and the electricity of being live on stage, but more importantly, more seductively to me, the electricity of feeling like there's nothing in the world you're supposed to be doing right now except for what you're doing. Whether that's playing Hearthstone on a plane, being live on stage making a joke, or waking up at 4 a.m. to move to the next place. Like, that is the real seduction of all of that. Did we talk about the hangover of transitioning away from that?
I don't know if we talked about it, but certainly it's the idea that, like, deadlines can pass, calls can go unanswered, decisions can be delayed, and ultimately, in the court of public opinion, you can always say, "I call exhibit gig," and
Yes.
that's like, all right, well, you got a card that is better than exhibit gig, because if you do, I'll apologize. If not, I'm going to shrug my shoulders.
Well, and I guess that's what I'm asking Andrew is are you, because it used to be that all of us had that immediate out. Like, no matter what thing we knew we really should be doing, we could just be all like, well, I got a gig.
When I worked on the A&E show, that was certainly, like, I knew that I could put everything else on hold. I could tell everything, because because like I had a commitment, like, this has to be the thing. Like, even writing books, I made sure I finished my International Thoreau Award nominated book, Name of the Devil, before we started production on that show, so that I would not be distracted. And even things like my RSS feed, and I'm like, I can ignore this. The only thing I have to really make sure to do is I pay my bills. Other than that, I can just focus on this thing, because it's the one thing I need to do. And that is pretty freeing, to have, this is the thing. This is the thing I have to do. And I think that's one of the problems that, like, when people come back out of the military or out of prison, is that you realize that life is, 50 or 60 sloppy decisions a day, things that you sort of have to maybe do this or do that there. And then, wishing for the simplicity of that. And I think that's part of the appeal. Like, why do people like Star Trek so much? It's like, you just put on a uniform, you show up for duty, you're done,
Yeah.
Do your thing. People will tell you, "No, turn the Fleeba Flobber," and you'll do it.
You just play in Space Team all day. I don't see what the big deal is.
Yeah.
Well, I understand, like, the appeal of, like, so I'm watching Ash versus Evil Dead, and it sort of, the premise is he's got his car, his Delta, Oldsmobile Delta, that he drives around, and attached to the back is his trailer home, which is monstrously bigger on the inside than it looks like from the outside.
I noticed that as well. I love that.
But you're like, man, that's just such a simple life. You just drive around. You got your life in the back. I mean, you're living in a crappy trailer that doesn't even say Airstream, because they didn't want the rights issues. But I mean, you look at that simplicity, and so much of what we like about TV and things that are very appealing is this very compartmentalized, simplified life where they're not worried about these other things. Like, maybe Buffy has to fight vampires, but then she gets to be this, pretty cheerleader in high school, and isn't that cool, and isn't that sort of ideal?
I mean,
and we're attracted to those things.
I look at, like, even Buffy, it's like, oh, Buffy had a gig where she had to kill a vampire, and then the gig is over, and her one job is to celebrate the gig being over. What a wonderful life that we used to live when we were on the road. For me, though, so I recently had an interesting discussion, and I want to pull Bryson on this, because, like, absent gigs, there's another kind of avoidance behavior that I engage in, or that I thought was negative. And then recently Bryce was like, hey man, I noticed you're not engaging in this avoidance behavior. I'm like, but it's an avoidance behavior. It can't be worth anything. He's like, no, it's the most important thing you do outside of the content. And I was like, what?
Sure.
Waking up at home, it's like, well, I can either file taxes, I can either answer these emails, I can either do all this hard stuff, or, I mean, there's all these comments on YouTube that need answering, and there's all these Twitters that need answering, and I suppose I should really tend to the Modern Rogue subreddit at modernrogue.reddit.com, and look at me, I'm working, I'm getting that serotonin hit every 200 keystrokes, and I have really spent the last half year feeling like it was all a form of masturbation, that it was all avoidance tactics, that it was all like, simulated work. And but meanwhile, Bryce, you were saying that you felt like, no, it's the most important work, because what you're really offering in all of your products is access to you. And
Oh, yeah.
that's the hard work, is showing up in the salt mines and shaking hands.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I don't know, over the past couple of months, I had just noticed that we had less comments. Like on YouTube, is where it's very, like noticeable, because like YouTube, whether organically or not, always like rises up stuff where the channel, if the channel replies to your comment, they just kind of float up a little more. And so I noticed that there was less of that, and I wasn't sure if it was just like, oh, maybe spending time on other things or what. But you know, I think that as we are doing more like ground floor content creating and having access to all of our viewers and listeners, like y'all being available is like the biggest thing, right? Like there's no air of like being so busy that you just can't reply. Like you do reply to everybody on Twitter, and
we're not at the level where we could just point to our big budget movie and have that be the reason why we're not responding to everyone,
right? And I think it's also just like all of y'all's personalities to be very personable and engage with the community so much. And as we're winding down things like the giveaway videos and trying to shift a lot of those interesting bits and benefits for the viewers to Reddit and comment sections. Like I think it is, especially in our case, very important to like have the thing that says your name on it have something that you wrote, versus like me or somebody else writing stuff in your
outsourcing
voice.
it down there.
Right.
So that's all right. So I need a judge's ruling from you guys. Is social media a black hole that you can always decide is an important part of your job and you can avoid?
No. Stop it. This is a faulty premise, and you're literally just like, this is the wrong way to even frame this.
Okay.
It is a job. Yes, you should do it. But it is the job that you found easier.
Yes.
It was easier than doing taxes. It was easier than answering the emails. And it was more of a direct thing because of the weird nature of what comments are, right? Either you could provide a very simple answer. Everyone usually is happy to hear from you, or they're not happy because they're like lighting you up, but you get that little bit of righteous indignation of giving them the little, what for. But so like, yeah, that is a thing. You should carve out time for it, but that's not necessarily, to me, antithetical to like, okay, but how do you get better at doing your taxes and how do you get better at answering the emails, right? Like those are, they are all important, but don't like, because you want to like raise the market price of like, well, looks like this is too rich for my blood, I'm not going to do it. And it's like, oh, we should do it. Great. It's back on the menu. We've just dropped the price of what it takes for me to do this. And now I'm all on board again. Like that's just your own, in your own head, when really the bigger problem is, how do you do the stuff that you don't want to do?
Yeah. Because it is a zero-sum game, the amount of time you have in a day, but it's not it's not you giving yourself a wank. Like you are actually doing a benefit for it, by engaging. So I think, at least in moderation, and finding, because like Open Bayou says, if you spend all day on it, then yes, it's a black hole. But if you find time throughout the day or little moments, like
if the other things aren't getting done, it's a problem,
right?
And that's what it comes down to. Is there that list? I got that list of stuff that I need to get done. If that stuff ain't getting done because I'm doing this other thing, then that's a problem. I did have this every now and then. Like I'll open up Instagram and I'll start liking things, and I had this sort of thought, like, man, like 30 years from now, do I want to be doing this? Do I want to, like, I'm liking this because it's my friend, they've only got 2 likes, and I want to make sure that somebody likes this.
Man, by the way, you want to talk about things that we are not doing that we should? I am horrible, unforgivably horrible about likes. They cost me nothing. They make other people's day, and I am insanely stingy. I don't know why. Like, it just never occurs to me to like an Instagram post or a tweet or whatever.
I do that all the time on Twitter. Like, you respond to me, anything to me, I will almost always do that, and it's my way of saying I read this. And I may not have anything to respond or say. I might be busy, I might be in a checkout or whatever, but I always, and that was, I forget who it was, but somebody once years ago when Twitter first started, and somebody who I thought I looked up to liked something I said, and it made me go electric. I'm like, oh, cool. And I'm like, there's no response. But I'm like, they read it, and that was cool. And so I said, oh, I do that now because I want you to know I read you.
All right. So I am. Hold on. I'm gonna get my numbers right here, and I'm gonna make a pledge right now that I'm gonna be better than I am. Starting now. If I read it, I'm just gonna like it left and right.
Everything in your timeline or
not,
replies?
Not everything, but that will become part of my default action. If it just says please follow me, I'm not gonna like those are just I don't know, that's creepy. Although I'll probably follow you anyway because you care enough to ask. I will follow you, but I won't like it. But like my default liking action. Okay, right now let me compare for you some numbers. There is somebody who his like game is on point, and it's not me. Right now, my numbers, it says here, oh, geez, tweets, 74,000, likes, 45. Okay?
Whoa!
That's pretty bad.
What a
pretty bad.
Stingy bastard.
I just never.
Oh, my God.
I never thought about it. And this is my come to Jesus moment, okay?
I have 29,000 tweets and 24,000 likes.
Okay, that's
Wow.
healthy. That's a healthy ratio.
Do you think so?
You know who has the best ratio?
Who has the best ratio?
I don't know. Somebody who tweets 32.5 thousand, but likes 144,000. And do you guys know who that is?
How could anybody know who that is?
You got a guess? I don't know.
Ashton Kutcher?
Kevin Smith.
Okay.
Kevin Smith has tweeted. I was shocked that I've tweeted more than twice as much as Kevin Smith because in my mind, he's always the chatterbox on Twitter. But he likes 5 times as many tweets. That Kevin Smith, at that Kevin Smith. He likes 5 times as many tweets as he posts. And so that's going to be my new goal.
Is to find new places to tweet or to like any and everything. Go on random people's pages and their ads and like everything.
No, I'm gonna make that my rule. I'm gonna like 5 things for every one thing I post.
Oh, you're gonna have to watch those rants.
Can you pull up mine? I don't want to start up my browser here and ruin everything.
Okay, so meanwhile, at Andrew Main.
So Andrew has.
You've tweeted 22,500, and you've liked 12,500. Which again, that's not in any way an indictment. That is a testament to Kevin Smith's huge, generous liking policy.
It's 12,000 times better than you, Brian.
I know. No. Actually, it's I believe 120,000 times better than me.
Listen, by the way, Brian, there's a method to his madness. 1 like per president, and that's it. That's all we get.
No, that's a hook.
Dude, no, this has just been a big blind spot. And I'm so glad we're having this discussion because like that is an irrational policy. Because what's funny is I already had that breakthrough as far as following people back, as did Andrew. It's like it doesn't cost anything. The fans love it. Go for it.
It's interesting.
But for some reason, I never thought about it with likes.
Well, at least for me, like the like stuff is very active. You have to hit. You are the one clicking like on a tweet, which is why I feel a little hesitation at the one tweet and 5 likes ratio thing. I feel like you should at least start off pretty organically and see like if I was to make a statement that I enjoyed something on the next time I open up Twitter, what are those moments, and then try to set a number goal for
I'm not saying it's a hard and fast rule, but it's like you should say 3 things for every that are nice for every 1 negative thing or whatever. It's like that's what it should be. Like in general, I should be showing appreciation for the content creation of other people more than barking like a dog.
Yeah,
I think whatever your formula, I think just it is a tool to certain to reinforce. And it's useful when people know that it's really you doing it too. That's another thing too. It's like I'd like to think it's Kevin Smith who's liking those things, but either way, probably like somebody read this. And I do it because it's like if I say something stupid or whatever, people get a funny reaction or people make comments on it. It's like, yeah, I can't sit there and respond to everything. Not everything needs a response, but just like, so they know Andrew read that. And I've seen the difference. I've seen that. I'm a very introverted kind of guy when left to my own devices, but I've seen it, when people interact with me on Periscope or whatever, like they know it's a two-way street, and that's what this is. It's a two-way street. A lot of people don't like that. Two-way doesn't mean that you have to. We're not asking people to leave Diamond Club or the Twitch channel open 24/7 in their home, although they should. They really, really should.
Though.
Yeah, and actually we are going to ask you to do that. That's going to be a new policy. But until that point, we weren't, because it's not like, we have to respond 24/7 anytime somebody wants our attention. But when the shop is open, that's why I love Periscope, why I love stuff like that. Like, hey, doors open, coming in, let's talk. My time is yours.
Yeah, I'm a bad person. I'm sorry. No, I'm going to frame this positively. I was
you're a
a bad
horrible
person. I was a bad person. But
today you have been bathed in the waters and you arise a new man.
You know what? Hold on. I have to like a friend of ours who just asked me to like him. Somebody says, gross, and how did this get in my feed, LOL? Gonna like that. Where's my like, bro? Gonna like that. Is a retweet equivalent to a like? Gonna like that. Look, what are my likes at now?
Sure.
They're almost double.
Your likes are at 49. It's not almost double at all.
Turn it over a new leaf.
Anybody got any picks?
I even told you guys what my pick was going to be. Was it?
Your television show?
I've already forgotten.
You son of a bitch.
I'm sorry. Oh, my television show. You thought I was trying to tease it out of you. Oh yeah. My pick is my own damn show, which is leaving Netflix. Which sounds like a reality show about quitting a cult. But no, what I mean is Hacking the System is leaving Netflix. If you want to see it, if you never saw it, it's you got 2 more weeks.
I like that IMDb artwork, icking the istum.
Kicking the istum. I'll tell you what, man, I'm pretty pleased with that.
Wait, go back to that for a second. Go back to that surprise.
That's
Stars: Jason Murphy, Rod Harrow, Chaton Justice.
Yeah, well, you know what it is IMDb is a fan-run site, and so
the fans
anyone
hate you.
Well, anyone can say, "Oh, I worked on that. I showed up as this one thing."
Well, you know why? It's because a Jason Murphy is listed for 3 episodes, and Brian Brushwood is listed for unknown episodes.
That's because I haven't gone in there to fix any of that stuff. But meanwhile, like some of the folks, and you know how it is. Sometimes they need more people to fill out a scenario or scene, and so it's like those people are very aware, like, well, I'm on this show, I'm gonna get credit for that.
It's like that you weren't listed in starring.
That's fine. It's probably for the best. I mean, what did I do? Decided to show up and ruin everything
and be on the poster for it, whatever.
No. But in all seriousness, I'm really, really proud of that chapter of my life. I would love for you to see it. It would be a tragedy if you missed it while it was on Netflix. If you're in the United States, open up Netflix and watch Hacking the System. Hope you enjoy it. And it's funny to see the DNA of what became the Modern Rogue in there.
Somewhere in there. I know everybody, of course, watched the Modern Rogue. Hey, so while I'm being bad at money management, the one thing that I do like that I do keep an eye on my money is Mint. I've used Mint forever. It's got an app. It's got a web interface. You just plug in your bank account information into it, and you can see it in charts, and it breaks down in a rudimentary kind of way what you're spending your money on. It lets you set goals that I don't use, and there are like plugins for taxes and stuff like that. But it has just been a part of my life forever, and I'm glad I have it.
I have 2 picks, and I'm trying to remember the name of one, which is great because it's great that if you have it and then you forget that you have it. The other pick is going to be, man, I watched this last night, and pardon me while my eyes are down here as I'm trying to find this app.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you distracted by the fact that I liked your tweet? Is that what was exciting you?
He liked me. Yes. I watched the Ricky Gervais movie, which is the follow-up to The Office, which is Life on the Road, which is the further adventures of David Brent, and just found what I was looking for. It's, I would say I enjoyed it, and what I enjoyed about it too was that, like, you know, the David Brent sort of, a lot of Gervais comedy is about, like, let's just embrace this awkward and let this awkward situation play out. And sometimes sometimes that humor at this point, it's kind of like, all right, I've seen this sort of stuff for, you know, almost 15, 20 years now of this being a genre of sort of doing kind of entertainment. And after a while, it's like, okay, let's kind of see the next level. And I like this because I thought that we got David Brent, and then we got a little bit more about the people around him, where at first, like, oh, he's horrible, and then these people are all kind of jerks. But then it was nice. But man, like I relate to his awkward so much. I relate to that on so many levels, just watching him. It's like, yeah, that's me. I can see myself being like that. I see myself doing that. Not in a aren't I hilarious kind of way, but like, oh, that's sad. And I find that frightening relatable.
He's just so brilliant and I haven't seen this movie, but in especially the UK Office, the character is just he wants to be loved so bad that he squeezes all the love out of his life, right? Like, it is just always this, like, constant, oh, okay, well, if I do this, they'll love me, they'll respect me. Or if I just tell this lie or cut this corner, everyone is going to look at me differently. And he just is always like, you know, he's given two paths and he always just picks the wrong one. It's so great. I'm excited to watch it.
A character in there describes him, says, you know, when he talks to a woman, it's like watching Jenga. Like, he just collapses. You know, everything just falls apart. And I watched these situations, like, yeah, like, I've been in situations like I felt like that, like, man, like, everything out of my mouth was the exact wrong thing for me to say at that moment. And I'm kind of watching myself do this and trying to recover and then not. And we get into this, and I notice this is a problem we all have, and some people have more than ever, is that, like, we think that we can change people's perceptions with just our words. You know, we think that we can just explain ourselves, like, no, let me explain this to you, and now I'm going to change your perception of me. And that's a delusion that we get caught up into, and it makes things worse. And I've watching this in other people, like, I've, you know, friends who, like, I've done meetings with or whatever, and they try to explain themselves, and it gets worse. And it's, the problem is not that they're not articulating the right vision, it's just that they're articulating when they should just shut up.
Yeah
Sort of thing. But the app I wanted to mention on the subject of finance is Acorns, and I've talked about this before. You guys ever use this?
No.
So what Acorns is, it's an app that when you have it on your phone, you set it up, you link it to your bank accounts, and it will round up every purchase you make with the linked credit cards to, like, you know, if you have a 24-cent purchase or $1.24, it'll round up the difference of like 76 cents and deposit it into like a mutual fund. So you can use kind of just sort of a nice little, you know, broad sort of mutual fund. Don't get too crazy about mutual funds, because once you use index funds, guys, because anything else is just a scam. You know, put it into like sort of a regular sort of mutual fund or whatever. And then what happens is that you just, every time you make a purchase, a little bit of money gets deposited. Few cents at a time here, a few cents to here. You do not realize that it's there, that it's working for you. And then if you look it up, at one point you're like, hey, wait a second, I have a couple $1,000s I didn't even think about. And so big fan of that. You know, I had that where I'd forgot, you know, I realized I had it working, and then, you know, I'm like, oh, let me check, you know, like end of the year's doing taxes, like, let me look, oh, it was like $3,000 sitting in there. So it's a great way to passively invest. You know, one of the secrets to people who do really well long-term investing is they develop a pattern, a habit, where the first thing they do, the first 10% of the paycheck goes somewhere or whatever, and they don't touch it. This is a really good, if you're a very lazy person and you want to just do a little bit of investing, highly recommend it.
Well, and by the way, it should not be understated that, you know, one of the things that, you know, finance guru Dave Ramsey talks about is, you know, finance is, you know, 50% the numbers, 50%, or he says it's 10% the numbers, it's 90% behavior. And if this is a way to nudge yourself into responsible behavior where you just make one decision and just deal with it from then on, you know, that, like the nudge unit in England, They tried doing all these big things about why washing your hands super important. They figure out, oh no, wait, here's what we do: is at the beginning of the workday, we stamp your hand with this vegetable oil that takes like 6 or 7 washings to get it all the way off. And then, and so sure enough, over the day, everyone's just like, let me get the stamp off. And then they build the habits, and it turns out that the habits stick. And you never have to know that you're preventing the spread of germs. You never have to know that you're, doing all this social good or whatever. It's just you're busy wanting to get this thing off, and then you're done. And so meanwhile, Acorn seems to be taking advantage of the same heuristics.
Yeah, I think that we're heading towards a future, I think, where we're going to start doing more and more of, AI, artificial intelligence works against us in a lot of ways, like in Facebook. AI algorithms are there designed to steal our attention spans,
right.
And reduce our productivity. And it's not a sinister thing. That's literally what the purpose of that is. The more time we spend looking at their advertisements, the more money they make, whatever. But I think we're getting to a point where you can start using AI systems or just automatic systems to help us financially. And that can be, right now, in a simple thing, it's just a thing that says, oh, every time you make a purchase, we're going to take that difference, put it away, which is great. And then I think we're going to start getting into, price shopping that really benefits you, the consumer. And we're getting into, more sophisticated systems that can start looking through your taxes and do stuff. But, and then these things are going to get more complicated. It's going to be a very interesting area of financial technology. But starting point is just a little simple app that, links to your bank accounts and puts money away. So,
dude, that's great. I think I might have to make that happen.
Yeah. It's one of the things I tell people. And then, it's like, oh, yeah, I should do it. And I could talk to friends like a year later, like, if you did it, you probably like $200 or $300 put away that you didn't realize. Not unlike when I admonished several of my friends to buy Tesla stock back when it was like really low.
Oh, guess who did? Guess who did? His retirement fund is higher than his wife's. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Nice.
There were some ups and downs, but what and it's not a lot, but it's enough that it makes a chunk where it's just like that unit higher than my wife's fund. I don't have to check because I know exactly what's responsible.
Yeah, no, and then I'm not giving out financial advice to anybody. Oh, somebody could come. I wish I made enough money to save anything.
You do.
The wrong attitude. You figure out. The habit is more important than the amount in the long term. It really is. Well, with 1%, 2%, the habit is more important than the amount. I live a creative lifestyle because I put money away for periods when nothing's going on. Live on that.
Well, with this Acorns thing, like I definitely know I should be investing money. My issue is I have no effing idea what I should be doing. Right? Like, so I don't know if I should take $200 in cash and give it to somebody. I don't know what a fund is or, indexes. And so, at least with Acorn, it's like, we're going to take this change and we have our recommendations. And I probably will trust this startup thing more than myself to find someone and make a decision, honestly.
Well, I'll tell you what this reminds me of is in The Richest Man in Babylon, and I think we've talked about this before, but if there's a bonus pick, this I suspect would be a universal team pick. But The Richest Man in Babylon was written in the early 20th century as a series of parables. One of the things they say is if a man were to go to work every day and cross a bridge, and he vowed to every single day pick up one stone and throw it into the river, by the time he's an old man dying, there's going to be a dam there and he's going to have all the water collected in the world. Now, notice he wouldn't, skip a few days and then say, no, I'll just scoop a handful in now. It's like, no, you throw one pebble every single day. And so likewise, basically it makes the point, in your lifetime, there is a finite amount of money that you will touch. You will die, be dead and buried, and there is a sum total of amount of money that ever went through your hands. And when you die, you can either have invested 10% of that or not. And and by the way, that number is not insignificant. At $50,000 a year, over 40 years, that's a lot of money. I probably should have known that number before I brought up that parallel.
The parable of the pebble on the bridge is one of my favorite ones. It's one of the things that affected the way I thought. And even to writing, that was the thing over a year ago. I said, you know what, every day I'm going to write 1,000 words for, to do this. And I watched books accumulate. And Bryce, the short answer I'll give you as far as investing is Index funds are where they just invest in the overall market. That's the safest, smartest way to invest. Individual mutual funds, managed funds, statistically perform worse than the market does. People just can't outguess the market. There are some tiny little exceptions to that, but ones where they're like, yeah, we'll manage this, we'll aggressively this last 3 years, we've had this return. Statistically, a regression of the means, always some fund is going to do better for a short term, but as far as actually outperforming the market itself, just do what's called an index fund, which is just a broad investment in the top stocks.
Full disclosure, all I do, because I'm lazy, is I do the Vanguard 500, which is an index fund that just mimics the S&P 500. S&P 500, I was told at some point, I don't know if it's true, outperforms 80% managed mutual funds. The only reason I bought the Tesla stock the time that Andrew was encouraging me to do so was because I'm like, this is gambling money. This is on top of my retirement. Who knows? And it turns out it's a lot of fun that the gambling money has doubled or tripled or whatever, right?
That's the way you have to look at that. And and that's the problem is I'll talk to some people who are like, oh yeah, I do like day traders and stuff. Like, you're not an investor, you're a gambler. You found a different way to gamble, and I only tell my friends about a stock or something when I've been following it forever, and when I'm watching financial analysts talk about it and they don't get it, and I'll be like, oh, they're wrong. They're going to realize they're wrong. Which what happened with Tesla, which has been very interesting. There are some short sellers. There's like $4 billion in capital right now in trying to short sell Tesla, betting that Tesla is going to drop a lot. And they keep putting money into this because if you say the way short selling says is basically it says like Brian has a bunch of stock. I say, Brian, let me borrow the stock from you and I will give that stock back to you in a year because I'm thinking that it'll go down in value and it'll cost me less to repay him that stock. And what's happened is there's been some short sellers that like over a year ago were like short selling Tesla thinking it was going to like collapse and the price kept going up. Not to say it can't fall again. It could, who knows? A lot of things happen, but they were thinking that it was going to fall by now and it hasn't. It's going up to its record high. And now in order to keep that investment going, they have to keep paying the rent, so to speak, on the stock that they borrowed.
Because they feel like they're eventually going to be proven right, but in order to stay at the table, they have to keep feeding into it. Real quick, Matt at home, Matt B at home says, for the self-employed, how do you save for retirement? That's what the richest man in Babylon is all about. Just go ahead and get yourself a copy by any means you can. It's I think the copyright might be expired. You might be able to get it for free. Otherwise, you could buy a paperback for $5. The entire idea is a part of everything you own is yours to keep in your lifetime. If the first 10% is yours, you may think like, oh, I thought everything I own is mine to keep. Yeah, but you don't keep it. You give it to your rent. You buy crap. And at the end of the month, you have less money than when you started with somehow. So instead, if you treat that first 10% as holy money and everything else comes out of it, it changes your life. And I know this from experience. There was a brief moment when I was 27 years old and had just quit everything and had gone deeply into debt. If you tallied up all my debts and everything, I was in the hole $60,000 and I had my biggest season ever. And I realized, I ran the numbers, I was so excited, and I realized that if I didn't break a leg, if I made it to every single gig, if everything worked and I got all the paychecks, the best I could hope for is to get back to zero. And it was when I read this book and I realized that, and I put it into effect. And so what happened is at the end of the season, I was not back at zero. I was still $10,000 in the hole, but I had $10,000 saved in the bank for a retirement account, the peace of mind that came with that. I had never experienced that before. I didn't get out of debt until March of the following year, but when I did, my debt was zero, and for the first time, I had $15,000 saved or some amount. And all of a sudden, like, the peace of mind that comes from knowing that money is there is well worth the delay in gratification. So.
In practical terms, what you want is a SEP IRA, SEP IRA, which is basically a self-employed. It's a simplified employee pension, which means one person can contribute to this pension plan. And when you have that, you're allowed to, like, the first like $4,500 or whatever that you contribute to that every year isn't taxed. So look into like an SEP IRA, which then means that you can put X amount. And I understand it is hard. It's hard because you're thinking like, man, I'm just trying to pay my rent or try to stay ahead. You have to get into your mindset. Like, the first check I write every month is to my health insurance, right? Because without my health, screwed. So health insurance and then it's saving. Health insurance and saving, the first two things. My car payments, the kind of car I get is based upon how much I already want to contribute to my retirement. You know, my budget for food, all these things. And I have friends that complain about, like, I don't have money for health insurance. I don't know this. Is they're sitting across me drinking, you know, $12 drinks in a bar. You know, I'm like, you got priorities. They're just in the wrong order. In my opinion. Not everybody.
Agreed. Or you could look into a Roth IRA. I did a Roth IRA.
Yeah, just individual retirement account. So there are.
Also, we're not financial wizards, and we're not giving advice.
Also, invest in Merkins.
Yeah,
they're coming
do
back.
something.
Sure.
Do something. You know. So.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, it's been after.
Indeed it has.
Hot damn, we're spitting white hot fire. Whew. Financial gold, baby.
Boy, howdy.
Okay, if I'm very, very lucky, I can get my programs in before Cord Killers.
Sure. Go and do
All right,
that.
I'm going to eat. I love you guys.
All right, bye, Justin.
All right,
You're
bye,
the best.
Justin. Oh, let me turn this on. Yeah, good shows, everybody.
That was really good, Andrew. I thought we did a good job of navigating that touchy space and clarifying that, you know, that I'm saying, whatever. I don't want to rehash it, but anyway, I was really proud of both of us.
I think that the thing I've had to learn is let somebody get their opinion out and not try to, you know, put my capstone on it, you know, or whatever. And that's been, like, probably from this show has been the biggest thing, is like, I don't have to agree with everybody I agree with.
Well, and those have been and part of the appeal of the show is, I think, that you know, we tell the truth about how we feel, and then there's these moments where, I mean, I think you and I could have a really interesting 4 to 5 hour discussion just about that one subject. Mm-hmm. And I think also that doesn't belong in the total entirety of the show.
Well, and also, but it's like when you phrase it like, this is what I want, or this is what, like, I can't tell you're wrong.
Right. And I think that's one of those tricks and moments. Not that it's a trick. That's one of those insulating barriers that we figured out over the years. Is I realized, like, oh, no, I'm not saying this is right. I'm not saying it should be this way or not be this way. I'm saying this is how I feel when I try this on, and that's all I'm saying. You know, and like. I don't know. I thought we did a good job of managing that.
Yeah. Space elevators are still stupid.
No, okay. Look, you're 100% right on that. I mean,
right.
Look, I'm staring at the evidence flying down into Cape Canaveral at the
Oh my
you know.
God! I mean,
where we started. You couldn't be more right, and I couldn't be more wrong in that the factual thing in front of me.
Well, see, and you know maybe next month they actually do the relaunch.
No shit.
We'll see. We've been, you know, for a while now hoping we're going to relaunch, but I mean,
that'll be huge. When they release the dollars of savings just on that first relaunch, when they say, "Hi, we're reusing this equipment. We saved this many $1 million. Also, the line starts right over here." That's pretty huge.
Yeah. You know, it's a exciting step. And I'm damn fascinated to see what's going to go on with NASA right now. I mean, it is a, you know,
tire fire.
Well, but I mean, I maybe a necessary one. You know, the fact that we've, you know, we're our you know, the government's biggest plan is this, and granted, like SLS, when that was first proposed, you know, SpaceX and Blue Origin had not been talking about doing, you know, their heavy lift. You know, that was still theoretical, so. Yeah. But anyhow.
Alrighty, guys, we've
got. Yep. I gotta go
shows
watch the end of the Young Pope. I love you.
And food to
Bye.
eat. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Bryce.
Thank you, Andrew.
Are you gonna hold it over here?
Yeah.